What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us here on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 123 for your Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. I'm your host, JD from New York. As always, joined by the one and only, the man who laughs at Triple H's epic promises, the Solomons. What's going on, brother?
I hope you had an epic Thanksgiving, brother.
I did? Well, not really. Not really. It was all right. I'm not the biggest holiday guy, you know?
That's
It
true.
is what it is.
You have said that before.
Yeah, I'm the Grinch.
Yeah, very festive, huh?
No. No, just give me a cold holiday seasonal beer and leave me alone to my corner.
Well, that's depressing. On that depressing note, I enjoy Thanksgiving. I enjoyed all the food.
You got your noodle pudding, man, I heard.
I had my noodle pudding. I had a lot of festive desserts. So it's all good. I hope everybody else had a great Thanksgiving as well.
Yes. It's always great to see family. You know, my brother came into town from Massachusetts, and we hung out. We did the thing, and he'll be back for the holidays. So it's always nice to get the family together, especially with the problems that my parents have and losing my grandma this year. We've actually made a promise to each other that we should definitely get together more now that those things have happened in the last 12 to 18 months. So it's like, yeah, we got to make the most of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, that's actually, I think, a great idea.
Yeah. But we thank you guys for joining us here on Tuesday night, man. We got a lot to talk about. It was quite the busy week for Jason and I. We had to sit through what we thought was one of the worst Triple H shows that he's ever put on. And if you thought we were bad or critical of the Survivor Series on our own platforms, wait till you get us together. I can't wait to talk about this, including the news that apparently at the end of that War Games, the rumor was going into it that we'd get some kind of idea of what the WrestleMania 42 main event would be. And I don't like it. I'm not here for it. So we'll talk about what is being discussed, and whatever's being discussed with Mr. Reigns and Mr. Rhodes, I will give you the only way that it's even feasible. So if it doesn't happen the way that I lay out, I don't want to see it, because I'm still very much Cody and Punk at WrestleMania. I don't know how Jason feels, but Reigns and Cody again, man. I don't know if I could sit through that again.
Thrice in a lifetime.
Yeah, well, especially after what they did at 40. Do you mean to tell me they're gonna top that? They're gonna top that?
Well, I mean, the idea is that they're tied up at one win apiece. So now we have to find out who's the ultimate winner, because we have to tie. We have to break the tie between the two of them. That's kind of the idea.
All right, we'll definitely get into that. I just look at it as lazy. I think Triple H is, you know what worked back then. Let's try and do that again, man. Everybody was into that. No, we need new, we need fresh, we need creative.
Well, I mean, it goes to a larger issue. I think with WWE creative when it comes to some of these top matches in the first place.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch upon that. I can't wait to talk about that. We got news on Andrade. Again, he finally opened up about his non-compete. We will get into the AEW side of things with the Continental Classic starting this week, or last week rather, going into this week. It'll culminate in a big match at World's End in the finals, and we'll talk about what happened in week one. We will get into the Monday Night Raw breakdown as well. Bron Breakker, the mystery man, who it is and who it's not, and why it's not who everybody thinks it is. And we got a lot to get into tonight. So we thank you guys very much for joining us here on Tuesday night. Make sure you follow us on social media. Everything you need is linked down below in the description. If you guys want to follow Jason on Twitter and on YouTube, his Twitter and YouTube are linked down below. Please hit that thumbs up. I'd love to see 1,000 likes on tonight's stream. And I want to thank you guys again for last week. 53-minute watch time. I don't know anybody else who is doing this that has a 53-minute watch time. I would assume our watch times individually are pretty epic, to use that word. But when we're together, we're clearly doing something right. So let's keep that going. So if you guys want to get in on that, please hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. All of that stuff helps out. And super chats are open, so please get them on in. It's the best way to support what Jason and I do here on Tuesday nights. And with that said, what are we going to talk about, bro?
Well, you mentioned before when we were talking, I did not go live on Friday because I was not here for SmackDown. I think you did.
Lucky man.
Yeah, yeah, you were a brave one. I thought you were going to bite the bullet and be like, you know what, tonight I'm going to actually take the night off.
I was thinking about it.
And I saw, wait a minute, he's live.
Yeah.
Something good must have happened on the show.
Yeah.
And then I watched it and I go, well, still waiting to find out what this is. But so why don't we start there before we get into any of the Survivor Series stuff? Let's go back to Friday.
Well, Friday we had,
and again, we don't need to get into all the nuts and bolts, but
No.
we'll kind of just break into the stuff that needs to be mentioned here.
No, Friday's SmackDown. There wasn't really much that happened outside of the tournament. So,
Well, we had the first in many years, I do believe, traditional Survivor Series elimination match.
you mean
What an
you mean
exciting
one of
one it
the more heatless Survivor Series elimination matches?
You know, I was watching on the Vault a few days ago. There was a Survivor Series match. I want to say it was maybe 91. All I know is that it had the Bushwhackers and it had IRS and people like that. And that match was far more exciting and had more heat and more energy than this match did on Friday.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll get to it. I don't want to jump ahead, but I didn't find myself interested in anything that was going on there until maybe the last 5 minutes. So at least, the one positive
War Games.
Yeah, well, the one, yeah, really. The one thing I will say positive as far as that Survivor Series elimination match, it was commercial free. I didn't really anticipate that, so they gave you the last at least 28 minutes commercial free.
Oh boy, we got the commercial free MFTs. That's awesome.
That's great.
That's great.
Jey Uso and Rusev had their quarterfinal match on Friday. Uso obviously won, being that he wrestled LA Knight. We'll get into that in a little bit too. I said, Jason, on Friday that, WWE very much has a Jey Uso problem. Whether people like him or not, he's incredibly popular. I use the term entrance merchant because that's all he is, really. I don't ever look at a Jey Uso match and think, man, I'm sorry I missed his match, or I can't wait to watch Jey Uso wrestle. It's always the same thing. You know what you're going to get. There's never any surprises. Did you find it to be a little bothersome? Because I know I did, that he lost to someone like Rusev, who was, he's not really on a nice string of momentum. He's been featured a little bit more than he has been when he first got here. But don't you think it's almost criminal that Jey Uso can beat somebody like Rusev, and why Rusev couldn't go to the next round to wrestle LA Knight and do that heel versus babyface dynamic?
Well, okay, I'll play devil's advocate here, but not just to be contrarian. I mean, we could agree on a lot of things when it comes to Jey Uso. I'm not even saying a lot of what you just said is wrong, but are you really surprised? Like, would you use the word criminal that Jey Uso, who is one of the more popular stars they have in the company and was part of the War Games main event on Saturday, that he would lose, that he would lose to Rusev? That the fact that didn't happen, first of all, you shouldn't be surprised by it. I expected it. And I can't say that I was bothered by it because I just sort of accepted when he moved on to that next round, like, okay, this is what the outcome is going to be. It's kind of like when Penta got hurt last week. Whatever the reports were about who was supposed to win or not win, you look at that and go, oh, well, Penta's going to win this. And then we're going to get Gunther and Penta in the next round. So I never even gave any consideration to the idea that Rusev was going to win. He's not at that level. He's not positioned at the level of a Jey Uso. So I don't know why you would have looked at it any other way.
Yeah, it's just one of those situations where I was hoping for something that was not really attainable here, or not really believable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anybody would have expected that. Again, Rusev wasn't even on the Survivor Series card.
No.
Rusev at the moment is not even actively involved in any kind of story or program.
No.
Jey Uso has a couple of things going on, right? He was going into War Games. Now he's got this other story going on that we'll get into with his character. So, no, I mean, look, of course he was going to move on. Not only was he going to move on, there was some concern, I know, on the part of a lot of people, myself included, that he was going to go over last night and move on to the finals of the tournament. So nobody should have been surprised by the fact that Rusev lost.
Yeah, I just feel like they are taking the plunger with Jey Uso and really trying to make something happen that isn't really there. I mean, I guess they don't really give a shit what the online audience thinks, but the people that are paying money to go sit there and eat, That's all they care about. But I kind of compared it to almost like the big dog Roman Reigns era. Like they're trying to make something happen and it's just not going to happen. He's just not, and I think in this case, it's similar but also different at the same time, where Roman, I think he was, I wouldn't necessarily even say he wrestled like a top guy. Vince desperately wanted a top guy because he knew that he didn't have Cena full-time anymore, and he looked at Reigns as that top guy. Reigns didn't wrestle like a top guy, but the fans kind of just turned the other way when they realized that Vince was shoving Roman Reigns down our throat. Here, Jey Uso is very much over with the audience, but he doesn't have the skills of a top guy that's going to wrestle in the main event and really give you that marquee main event. So it's almost similar and also different at the same time. I just feel like they're really forcing something that isn't there. And it's just very tiresome to see. And I think, honestly, when we get into the Survivor Series discussion, a lot of what WWE has as a problem going into 2026, I think a huge chunk of it is pushing guys like Jey Uso at the top when really it's just the fans wanting something different. I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. I just want something new.
Well, I mean, but that's the way WWE has always operated. I mean, when they have something that in their view is working and resonating with the fans in some way, it could be a chant, it could be a song, it could be whatever it may be. Of course, they're going to exploit that to the max. I mean, you saw at Survivor Series on Saturday, in the middle of the War Games match. The sight of him doing unspeakable things to the top of that cage there. And
what did you say? He was doing sexual acts to the cage?
I said he was violating the cage is what he was doing until Brock Lesnar's music hit, thank God. And then, thankfully, whatever that was ended at that point. But, you saw them with the aerial shot and all 40 some odd thousand people were, yeeting. They love that shit. They want more of that. They don't want less. The issue is that, okay, you can give them that, but when you put him in a position where he's wrestling these top guys and he's going to be wrestling for championships and he's going to be in that top sort of elite mix, when you get right down to it, is there something there that he, in these matches and in these promos and these segments, is there something that he is bringing to the table that really sets him apart in some way from all of these other guys and makes him stand out and makes him, it really resonates with you? On a level, and again, you can put any top name in there that you want to, but is there more to it than meets the eye? Now think about it. He's had an incredible year, right? He won the Royal Rumble. He tapped out Gunther at WrestleMania, someone who's very protected by Triple H. Won the World Heavyweight Championship, held it for a few months. Just headlined another War Games at Survivor Series. I'd say he's had a pretty good year for himself. And beyond that, I mean, where do you go from here? There's no other place to go. It was always going to be a very limited amount of time, I think, that he was going to kind of be on the mountaintop. And yeah, I mean, people want something new. Some people do. Some people love Jey Uso because they love yeeting when he comes out. When they go to the shows, they want to yeet. They want to hear the music. And so you have this weird split, I think, among some fans like that, and then other fans who want a little something more out of it. And that's the issue that you see. That's why there is a lot of divided opinion about him. There are people who love Jey Uso, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you strip it all down, what is there that we're not, able to get from someone else at the top of the card?
That's a good point. I don't know what there is. Honestly.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, is there something that we haven't seen that they still that they haven't been able to pull out of him yet that we're not seeing?
No, everything he's given us, everything we've seen. That's it.
I made this during my review. I made this comment. I said, there are people who will say, oh, he doesn't know that many moves, so his matches are kind of dull. There is a sameness to his matches, absolutely. And look, every top star has their 5 or 6 moves that they do. But I compared it to John Cena. John Cena always used to get ridiculed for that. Oh, he had the 5 moves of doom. And so what did John Cena do, right? Remember about 10 years ago? What did John Cena start to do? All of a sudden, he would bust out a move that we never saw before. And he started giving people standing Hurricane Ranas. And then he started using that springboard stunner, which was awful. And thankfully, he abandoned that.
Well, yeah, he used to do the fucking Code Red, and he used to
Code Red.
Yeah,
but he was already a made guy at that point. He was the top guy in the company. But I'm not saying that he felt like, oh, well, the fans are making fun of me, so I guess I have to learn a new move. I think he just thought it would be funny, but he actually started incorporating new shit into what he was doing. And you're not going to get that with Jey Uso. You know, what you see is what you get, and you either like it or you don't. But the problem is he's in that kind of rarefied air because he's part of the family, and the bloodline was a big thing for what, 5 years, right? He was in that mix, and I'm sure the company loves it. TKO loves the bloodline. They're trying to hold on to some remnant of it as long as they can. Jey Uso is part of that, so he's always going to be in that mix. But like, he's not a top guy, so you're only going to be able to go so far with him because what's left to do? That's why I was worried. Like, are they really going to give us Gunther and Jey Uso in the finals? Like another Gunther Jey Uso match in the finals of this time? Bang my head against this desk.
No,
like,
they certainly teased the fuck out of it last night.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course they did.
We'll get into that, but yeah, no, I mean that is what it is. I mean, I'm just in a situation with Jey Uso where it's just tiresome to a point where, so when I say I want Rusev to win, it's not like I think Rusev's going to win. I just like to see something a little bit different. But you know, Jason makes a point, like, you know, he's their guy, and he's making money hand over fist for them, and he's bringing out people because everybody wants to enjoy themselves, and that's what WWE is going for now. That was the one match, one of the quarterfinal matches here. The other one was to be determined earlier in the show because Sheamus had gotten injured. Now, I mean, I put my tinfoil cap on last week. I don't even think Sheamus is really hurt, but I hoped that we would get something different. Now, we found out about this because the show was taped last week, or a week before, rather, and I thought people were trolling me in the chat when people were like, JD, it's The Miz. The Miz is wrestling LA Knight. So I asked, how is that possible if The Miz is already in the tournament and lost? So we come to find out, Jason, the way that they played it off is that Nick Aldis was talking about the Last Time Is Now tournament where R-Truth walked in, and they had this cringy comedy segment that I'm sure made Vince McMahon smile from ear to ear somewhere, wherever he may be, talking about R-Truth's balls and Nick Aldis's British balls, and they're referencing the balls that are in the golden tumbler. And R-Truth wants to be in the tournament. His balls are in the tumbler. So while Aldis is arguing with Truth, Nick Aldis has an open ball in his hand where The Miz just sneakily takes out the paper that's in the ball and replaces it with another paper that had his name on it. Aldis had no idea. So when Aldis is done with R-Truth, he opens up the ball and he reads Miz's name off. So
now, let me stop you there.
Yeah.
I have a question. Are we to assume that, because I just assumed that everyone's name was in the tumbler once.
That's what I thought.
Are we to assume then that means that there are multiple people whose name is in there more than once? Because would all this, I mean, would that not be a red flag if he is pulling out the name of someone who he has already chosen earlier in this tournament? Or am I losing my mind here?
Well, this is what I said. I'm like, how stupid did they make Nick Aldis look? If you're the general manager, who he does a great job, by the way. I mean, he's like a defiant. He's like,
evidently
no bullshit.
Not.
No bullshit GM. I guess not. He's a no bullshit GM, but they made him look so stupid because the first thing I would have asked was, well, how did your name get back in the tumbler when everybody's name should be in there once?
Well, I mean, realistically, I would have said, producer or director, can you run that footage back of this segment here? I'd like to just make sure that everything's on the up and up, but you know, he didn't do that.
So it goes from that, how they got him back in the tournament, and then we get the match with LA Knight, which LA Knight won. I mean, it was thankfully, no surprises, just the standard Miz match on TV. I mean, if you watch this on Friday, because it was the tournament, you were highly disappointed. And then it just leads into a different discussion of how WWE dropped the ball on this tournament and how they didn't have fun with this tournament or how they didn't give us any unpredictability and any surprises. Now, Jason last week was playing devil's advocate. He brought up a solid point. Like maybe they didn't have anybody to fill in but The Miz on a last-minute decision, and they had to go with what they had to go with.
Yeah, it wasn't even devil's advocate. I was just pointing out that, you know, they had a double taping. So you're not convinced that Sheamus is actually hurt. I believe he is. And let's assume that's the case. If they found out that day that he was hurt, and now they have two shows to tape, and I don't know where they were. They might have been in Colorado. I don't remember where they were. So now they have a very short period of time to come up with an opponent for LA Knight. It's not like they could just fly somebody in from NXT or hey, call TNA and say, hey, can we borrow somebody else? So then you look at who's available on the SmackDown roster, and it's slim pickings as far as, like who would have been a better choice than Miz that, again, has not already been in the tournament. I guess technically, since he was already in the tournament, you could have picked somebody else who was eliminated, but they didn't really have a lot of good options if you are to assume that they had a very brief window to come up with someone different. Like going with The Miz, that's an absolutely terrible choice. I'm not saying it isn't, but I don't know that they had a lot of time to really put any thought into like, hey, who can we get? Because it's like, shit, we got a second show to tape. We got to get somebody. Hey, Miz, get over here. It might have been a situation like that.
Well, I looked at it as, and I start to question it, when you look at this tournament and how WWE took something that should have been a slam dunk. This just feels so inconsequential. It feels not fun. This should have been something that carried them through weeks of television with excitement and unpredictability. And I start to question, Jason, and I'm curious to see what you feel about the tournament in totality. It doesn't really give you any more hope, or it doesn't give you any better feeling about WWE creative from what we saw this year, which has been the worst year Triple H has had so far in the 2 or 3 years that he's been there, leading creative. Does it give you a sense of they're heading in the right direction going into the 26th? It certainly doesn't feel that way to me. I mean, if they botched and dropped the ball with this tournament, which should have been an easy thing, it doesn't really give anybody hope that it's going to get any better in 2026. How do you feel?
Yeah, but I mean, you're saying like it should have been an easy thing. They botched the tournament. Dude, they botched the Cena retirement tour. Like it goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. Like that's really where the bloom came off the rose as far as this, Triple H run is concerned, because it should have been a slam dunk from the word go. John Cena, it's not like this came out of nowhere. They knew at least 6 months in advance that, hey, this guy's retiring this year. So we have to put together an entire year for John Cena. Like he went on television in June, I think it was, of last year and told everybody that this is what was going to happen. So we get to the beginning of this year and he's in the Rumble and then he's in the Elimination Chamber and we got the interaction with him and Punk. And it's like, all right, so far so good. This is going okay so far. And then it just fell off a cliff after that great angle at Elimination Chamber. From that point forward, it just fell off a fucking cliff. And it all goes back to that decision. And I don't want to get into the whole thing with Rock and Ari and all this other nonsense. The fact is, Travis Scott, Fiend. It was Triple H, who I think even in the the Netflix Unreal series admitted, like, he's the one who threw the idea out there about, why don't we turn John heel? Then, of course, he had to run it by all these different people, including Travis Scott, for some reason. That was his idea. But he did it because, hey, what if we did this? It's not like there was a whole lot of thought put into, okay, well, yeah, what if we do this? Then what? And it just blew my mind because how do you not have a rock solid plan in place already, right, going into this year, where it just feels like you're in February and you're booking this shit on the fly? You're going into WrestleMania and it just feels like you're almost booking on the fly here. So to me, it goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. So nothing shocks me at this point when it comes to the John Cena retirement run. There's been some good stuff. There's been some bad stuff. My point is, there was no reason to have any of that bad stuff. So, and there'll be time for us when this is all said and done to look back on it and we'll make a determination about, whether, it was good overall or not. As far as this tournament goes, yeah, I mean, my biggest issue with it is that this should have been something where they could have some fun with it, especially when they said it's cross-branded, right? We're going to have some NXT talent in there and some maybe people who are not signed with the company. And they did have that, right? They had Javon Evans from NXT, and then he turned out to be the only one from NXT. There was nobody else in this tournament. And we had a couple of names from TNA. And then you look at the rest of the field and some of these matches that we're getting, and we're getting Jey Uso and The Miz. And then, again, LA Knight and The Miz, but that was because of the Sheamus injury. But then we have, some of these other matches. I'm like,
Nakamura and Sheamus.
Yeah, I'm like, this is the tournament.
Damian Priest and Rusev. Like, what the fuck is that?
This is the tournament you're coming up with to decide John Cena's final opponent. And dude, I'm going to just say it, like, in all honesty, it literally just started last week. The Continental Classic is already better than this John Cena tournament. Bar none. And we still have a few more weeks left to go. And I'm already like, I'm more into that than I am the John Cena tournament. It should not be that way. It did not have to be that way. But that's where we are. Now, I don't want to make it sound like we haven't had anything good out of this tournament. It just so happens that Gunther is a part of every single good thing about this tournament so far.
Well, he's boring and he's overrated, according to the people on social media.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, he's totally boring. If it wasn't for him, I mean, imagine what this tournament would look like.
Yes, that's a terrible
Devon
thing
Evans,
to look at.
Carmelo Hayes, and then blew my mind last night when I'm watching this, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a hell of a lot.
If the guy can bring Solo Sikoa to the best match of his career, I think we should start looking at Gunther a different way, people, really.
Well, and I don't want to make it sound like we're just giving Gunther credit for that. I will give Solo Sikoa credit, man. He held up his own. You know what it reminded me of? I haven't seen a Solo Sikoa singles match, or maybe any match, that I've enjoyed that much, that I thought was truly that good, as good as the one we saw last night, since he was the Street Fighter in NXT.
Yeah.
Right? He was playing that character. He was a babyface back then. So he's got it in him. You just got to get him in the ring with the right person. And that it wasn't even like the match had a story, right? The match just kind of got put together on a week's notice, and look at what we ended up with last night. So at least we've gotten a few good things out of this tournament, but it's been very, very half-assed. It's been very half-assed. It's been very underwhelming, as has other parts of this retirement tour. And we all know who's going to the finals and winning anyway. We're going to have the finals on Friday. So, I mean, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point. But I honestly believe, like, this Continental Classic, and we'll get into that a little bit later on, which is a very different kind of tournament, and there's other issues involved, there that we can get into. But like, this tournament that they just put together is already better than the John Cena one that's been going on now for a few weeks.
If I'm Triple H, not that he gives a shit, because he doesn't, because the company's making more money than they ever have before. But he wants to look the other way and kind of give nasty opinions and looks and counter programming towards Tony Khan. Tony Khan had a better War Games month. He's going to have a better tournament with the Continental Classic over the John Cena last time is now tournament. AEW does things better than WWE, on some occasions, and nobody's afraid to admit that. But, you think if you're Triple H, you look at that and it kind of lights a fire under your ass. Like, I don't want this fucking hack over here to start doing things better than me. Let me show him how it's done. It don't even feel like that. It don't even feel like he's putting up a fight. He's just kind of going with the flow. And there's no fight there from him.
Well, that's what happened with Vince in the late 90s, right? His back was against the wall. He had a certain way that he did things, and that worked for him for many years until something cooler came along. And all of a sudden, it's like they weren't the cool toy anymore. It's like when Buzz came in, right? Woody all of a sudden wasn't the popular toy anymore. And so what did Vince do? He had no choice. His back was against the wall. And he was forced to change, and he was forced to come up with fresher ideas, and ultimately it paid off for him. So, yeah, you would hope that when there's somebody else out there who's doing stuff that sometimes might be better than what you're doing, you would want to show them up and go like, oh, okay, I'll show you what we can do. Maybe, but again, they're still making tons of money, and they're selling out, certain buildings. They had 46,000 people at Survivor Series. They're going to probably make that an annual stadium show now. And so what's the incentive? With all of that success and all of that guaranteed media rights money and everything, what's the incentive to change? They have a formula that in their mind, it's working. So why deviate from that? Like, they know better. They know better. We know nothing. I mean, that's their philosophy.
I know. You know what I know, though? Their women's division is terrible on Friday night. Chelsea Green had her celebration for the United States Championship that she won 2 weeks ago from Julia. And an embarrassing display that was. So she comes out and she gets absolutely destroyed by Jade Cargill. She leaves after 90 seconds, jaded. And then Chelsea's fireworks go off after she was embarrassed, after Jade came in and ruined everything. I don't know what's happening with SmackDown and their women's division. Apparently, Jason, we're now looking at a Jade Cargill and Mia Yim program for the World Championship, because she's going to stand up for the rest of the women's locker room, because Jade's now apparently a bully. Well, what are we doing there? What are we doing over there?
It's not going to be, it's a match. It's not going to be a program. I mean, it's going to be, I hear the word program, I think, okay, we're going to get maybe a couple of matches. It's going to go on for a couple of months. They're probably going to have one match on TV. Jade's going to win, and then it's going to be on to the next. So what they're doing is they're scrambling because they don't have enough credible challengers for Jade Cargill. I mean, that's really what's going on here. I feel like it's something we've been talking about for months. I mean, it's a good thing in a way that Charlotte and Alexa lost the tag team titles. It opens them up to be individually, to be challengers for Jade. I don't know if they're going to be or not, because if you watch Raw last night, I mean, they're still very much in the tag team mix together. But boy, SmackDown could use someone like Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the next couple of months to step up to Jade Cargill until they're ready to move on to whatever the next plan is, whether it's Bianca or whoever it may be. And it's great that they're calling up someone like Lash Legend. She's not going to be in that spot, though, right? She just got called up. So it's nice that they're doing that, and I think they could call up one or two more people. But this has been a recurring issue for most of the year. Look at the run Tiffany Stratton had. You know, through no fault of her own. I mean, is there anything memorable from her run as champion?
Not a single thing.
Not a single thing. And I'm actually starting to get a little bit worried about Stephanie on Raw, that they may be in a similar situation, even though the women's division on Raw is a lot stronger.
Yeah, the one move merchant over there, Stephanie Vicaire.
That's what she's becoming. She's so, yeah, I mean, and she's so much more than that. But I'm fearing like all anybody seems to give a shit about these days is waiting for the devil's kiss.
It's awful.
It is awful because she's a lot better than that, but that's what it's kind of become, you know? I mean, it's like, oh, you find that one thing that really works in WWE, they'll market the shit out of it and have the announcers go crazy for it. But it just feels like that's all anybody cares about. Like, this woman could wrestle, this woman could work. But like, I feel like we're slowly and, you know, kind of finding ourselves in a similar position there where it's like, do they have an idea for where they want to go with her other than Liv Morgan? I mean, are we just going right into that, or is there another plan here? I'm not sure. So yeah, I mean, the Jade and Chelsea thing, I don't know. You would watch that and think, are they going to have Jade take the US title also? Like, what's the plan here?
You would watch that and wonder why there's even a United States Women's Championship to begin with.
I've been wondering that for months.
You just crowned this woman a two-time United States champion, and it's almost as if the title is as irrelevant as anything in the fucking business. Like, what are they doing?
It is irrelevant. Not Chelsea's fault, but
it's not Chelsea's fault. Chelsea's actually very good at what she does. It's just I don't understand why they put the title on somebody that they plan to write a segment like this for. I don't know. You look at what Becky Lynch did with the Intercontinental Championship. Why isn't this the same thing? It's just mind-boggling to me how both shows are just completely polar opposites of each other. Is this the same fucking company? It's ridiculous. Like, it's so embarrassing. This is what I spent my Friday night watching. So that was that. Miz and LA Knight. LA Knight wins there. He obviously will get into him and Jey Uso on Monday night.
Well, JD, there's only one way to solve this.
What?
We need another hour.
That's going to make things so much better on Friday. Can't wait.
Coming in January. Get ready.
Can't wait. All I know is I'll be doubling my espresso intake on Friday nights. We got a War Games advantage match here with Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Asuka did not win. The babyfaces got the advantage, which we will definitely touch upon when we talk about Survivor Series in a bit. Very good match. Probably the best thing. Not even probably. It was easily the best thing on the show. Former WrestleMania 34 match there. And then the traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. This was the MFTs, Solo, Tama Tonga Loa, JC Mateo, and Tala Tonga against Sami Zayn and Friends, Motor City Machine Guns, Rey Fenix, and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was commercial free, as heatless as anything I've seen on TV all year, Jason. The only thing that mattered here was when it came down to Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa, which was actually pretty decent because both guys, Sami's great. Solo, I don't really mind. I just wish this group would disappear off the face of the earth. The MFTs win, and then they get dwarfed here by the Wyatt Six. And Uncle Howdy delivers a Sister Abigail to Solo Sikoa to end the show.
Yeah, you say heatless on a taped show, no less. So they didn't even bother to pipe in crowd noise.
No,
did they? They were like, "There's no saving this. We're just gonna leave it alone."
No. Yeah, I look at Rey Fenix in this. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing with these guys? Motor City Machine Guns. They just feel out of place and irrelevant. And Sami Zayn, who knows what they got planned for him in 26. But, I mean, is anybody clamoring to see a Wyatt 6 versus MFT's feud? Really?
Well, look, you got these two factions on the same show. The MFTs are going to need another group to feud with. So what choices do they have? What are their options here? You got one heel group and you have one, I guess, babyface group, right? I mean, people cheer for them, so I assume they're baby faces. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. Is it going to get me excited to watch SmackDown? Not in the slightest, but there's no other group for them to feud with. So this is what we end up with.
Well, that's coming to a SmackDown near you very soon, so we'll see what happens on Friday night. Not really interesting. I mean, SmackDown has been so hot and cold, mostly cold, but when they have a good show, it's like they have 4 bad shows, and then they go back to having 1 good show. I don't know what they're going to do on Friday, because you would think that they would start to integrate some NXT talent, being that Saturday night's main event is going to include NXT talent. I hope on Monday we start to get an influx of NXT talent. I like to know who's going to be on that show, who's going to be presented, who are they going to put, as far as the NXT talent to showcase on that show.
I mean, it's less than 2 weeks away, so yes, I would certainly hope that we'll.
Well, you
find
never
out
know
something
with this
about
company.
that.
You never know with this place.
But I was just going to say, just to go back real quick to the MFTs and the Wyatts. Let me ask you this: what do we really know about Joe Gacy? Like, since he got called up to the main roster, what do we know about Joe Gacy?
So much so that I don't even remember the name of his group in NXT right now.
What do we know about JC Mateo?
Jeff Cobb is a great wrestler. Who JC Mateo is, I have no idea.
Well, I mean, you know who Jeff Cobb is, but like, if you're just somebody who watches WWE, like, what do you know about JC Mateo?
Nothing.
What do you know about Tongaloa?
Absolutely nothing.
You see a pattern here?
Tamatonga. He does the yeah.
Yeah, he does the grunt.
Yeah.
That's what we know.
And Tonga, he's tall. He's taller.
So yeah, I mean, the problem is that there's no, for a show that's built around characters and they talk about story, there's been no character development, especially with the MFTs. The Wyatts, I mean, we get these vignettes and stuff, but still, we really don't know a whole lot about these guys. Eric Rowan was there previously, so we know who Rowan is, but it's an issue with both groups that they have not bothered to really flesh out these characters on an individual basis, to flesh out these characters. We know who Solo Sikoa is, but what about these other guys? They sort of take for granted that the audience is going to care. Like, you should care because they're a group and Solo's leading
Samoan.
them. Well, they're Tongan in some cases, but
yeah,
the majority of them. But yeah, so like, I think they just take it for granted that we're just going to kind of accept, okay, these guys are a family, these guys are a group, and you're supposed to hate them or you're supposed to like them, and that's it. And that's just the way it is. And that's not how it works. So when you say this was heatless and that was heatless, is it really a surprise? Like, of course it's going to be heatless. You haven't given people any real insight into who these people are or why they should care. Until that changes, none of this is going to change. Like, I would love to, like, actually be invested in the MFTs in some way, but unless you give me a reason to be, it's just not going to happen. So you can feud them with whoever you want. I mean, dude, you could put them in there with the Wyatts. You could put them in there with some of the top stars on the brand. It's not going to get me to care about them anymore than I do now.
Now, for a company that, like Jason said, has rested their laurels in character development and getting people over, it's like they want to get over who they want to get over. It's like everybody else is like, all right, fend for yourselves. Yeah. I can't stand it. It's part of the reason why SmackDown is just absolutely lifeless. But that's coming up. I don't know when or where, but that is coming up soon. Which takes us into Survivor Series. And I was excited for some aspects of their show, others not. I looked at that All-Star War Games men's match, and I was excited to see what stories would come out of that and where we would go going into the new year, because this is really just, as history showed, that this is really kind of the very, very, very beginnings of what WrestleMania season builds towards. So we saw this show on Saturday, and after it was over, we were left asking, what the fuck did we just watch? And I know a lot of people came into this, Jason, with very low expectations. And what we got was something that a lot of people just were very fearful of. 4 matches didn't really get people excited just to begin with. And then we got 46,000, them touting 46,000 plus at Petco Park in San Diego. And we all had our reservations and our criticisms and complaints about these War Games matches, and with at least the hope that they do something different. And we'll get into both of these matches. But right at the top, You know, we got War Pigs from Ozzy, and we got the spectacle that is Petco Park, and everything looked great. The baseball stadium set up for WWE, which we have seen with the Rumble, has just looked great. The lighting looked great. The ambiance looked great. You know, I mentioned with what we got and 46,000, a lot of the show was sold out before a match was even announced. They had like 30,000 plus before they even announced the match. And when they announced all these matches, that's when the tickets kind of just jumped up to what they were. What did you think about the presentation? I'll start there of the overall show. 46,000. This is what, the 39th annual Survivor Series. So we got the highest gross Survivor Series of all time. To see Survivor Series in this light is kind of odd, no? Because Survivor Series was just like, I don't want to say a rinky-dink show. It's one of the more traditional shows, but it was never really, especially in this new generation, of the utmost importance. They really made it seem like a spectacle.
No. I mean, look, we had never had a stadium Survivor Series before, which is kind of hard to believe. I mean, we've had stadium Rumbles and Manias and SummerSlams, even Money in the Bank, I think. But we've never had Survivor Series in like an open-air stadium before. So now all of a sudden it's like Survivor Series is kind of on par with those other shows. But even before, like when you had, and I don't even know if Survivor Series necessarily was part of the Big Four, quote unquote, such an antiquated concept. But like certainly in recent years, other events had like surpassed it, if we're being honest, like Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank. So it wasn't getting the same kind of love that it got like when the event was first conceived. It was the second pay-per-view. I mean, it was WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, you had Survivor Series. You know, that was a thing before the Royal Rumble was ever a thing. But over time, it just kind of lost its cachet, and Vince McMahon got rid of it. He got rid of Survivor Series for a few months in, I want to say, 2010, and then people were very upset about it, so they reinstated it. So we never actually missed one, but he had already made the decision to get rid of it. So I think that speaks volumes about how low Survivor Series had gotten. As far as the presentation, I mean, look, WWE always goes all out with the presentation. So, yeah, I thought it looked great. They did not have the room for the shark cages this year, just because of the way the stage was. There really wasn't a lot of room. They want to sell as many tickets as possible. So that was the one thing that was missing from the last few years. We didn't have the shark cages. But otherwise, I thought that, you know, visually it looked great.
Yeah, the omission of the shark cages actually helped. I thought that was a positive. Not
Really?
only. Yeah, I actually enjoyed the way AEW did their blood and guts war games situation, because you know it just gives a little bit more. It gets the fans involved a little bit more with the countdown timer. You don't know who's coming out, and I just think it looks aesthetically better instead of having everybody in these silly little shark cages that they only kind of integrated because they needed to sell their Mattel toys. But yeah, I mean, we can joke around too. I mean, it's just impossible to even picture Brock Lesnar and Bronson Reed standing in a fucking shark cage with the rest of their team. It just looks ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. Never mind fucking what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't visualize Brock just being with everybody else in that cage like that for 30 minutes. But even if they weren't in shark cages, you know, you go back to the way War Games originally was, even if everybody just makes their way out, gets their entrance, and they're gathered outside the cage at ringside.
Yeah.
And then they talk amongst themselves and decide, okay, who's coming in next. So I actually felt the opposite. I felt like it took away from some of that drama. Like, even if you think back to the shark cages last year, we had Roman and Punk in a cage together. And there was some drama there between them, right? When Punk wanted to come in, Roman put his arm out. So you lose that because now they're not out there, and it's completely randomized. So I think you lose a little bit of the story element. I'm not saying they have to be in cages. I would be perfectly fine if they were just kind of hanging around ringside, but you know, everybody has to get their entrance with their weapon of choice, I guess, which, I mean, not everybody did, but most people brought something into the cage with them. So, yeah, I kind of missed that aspect of it just because I think you lose a little something without having them out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I would actually love to see everybody out there, like the way you described the way the old school War Games was. I think it just gives it a more animalistic feel. Like people are ready to go to war. The visual of people banging on the cage and everybody just kind of foaming at the mouth to get in there.
Yeah, like cheerleading, and that, because that's how it used to be, you know. And then there was a reason that worked. I think it added something to the match.
So we got, for a fourth year in a row, the women open the show. And this is AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and Charlotte Flair. against Becky Lynch, Nia Jax, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and the new Lash Legend, who her first actual official main roster match.
as opposed to the old Lash Legend, we have the new Lash Legend.
The newly acquired Lash Legend here. First match here on the main roster is a War Games match. I mentioned that the open air stadium, though it looks unbelievable, and the sheer abundance of people there looks unbelievable. I am not a fan of open air stadiums, especially watching it at home.
Man, I hope you're not about to blame her reaction on this.
No, I'm not blaming anything. I'm not blaming any of their reactions on the lack of what happened here. I'm just thinking in total for the show. Like, the entire show felt very quiet. Just watching it at home, it didn't feel like there was 46,000 people there for 3.5 hours. I just hate these open air shows because the WWE is making more money and they want to fill more seats and they need to feel big and important because they need to run these major stadiums. I just feel like when there's an open air stadium that all the air just kind of dissipates up and it just disappears into the night sky. And then when something major happens, it's not the level of reaction that we would anticipate. It's kind of like lackluster. So a lot of this show, though it wasn't really exciting, Jason, I just felt like some of those moments just kind of didn't feel as big as they should because of the open air stadium.
And it could have an effect on it, absolutely. But I would counter that by saying that I have seen other wrestling shows in open air stadiums where when big things happen that get people excited, it's plenty loud. I've also seen plenty of baseball games in open air stadiums where the crowd is very loud and sometimes the camera even shakes. So I still feel like if you're giving people something to really get excited about and invested in, while you might lose a little bit of the sound because of that, I still think it should be plenty loud if people are really super into what they're seeing. And I just think if you look at the format of these War Games matches, and this is one of the issues with doing it this way, is people, get conditioned to the fact that the first, like, these matches went 40 minutes. I think both of them went around 40 minutes.
Yeah.
30 of those minutes, like, it doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter, right? Because the match doesn't even officially begin until everybody is in. So if you have people who are in there hitting their finishers and doing all kinds of stuff, it doesn't matter because the match can't end because it hasn't started yet. So I think that hurts a little bit. And people kind of get conditioned to the fact that, okay, we're going to go through 25, 30 minutes of, people being thrown into the cage and doing various moves and using kendo sticks and chairs. But, like, none of it really matters until we get the big names in there, until everybody is in there. And then, the match beyond can begin. And then it kind of kicks up a notch. It hurts. It does hurt the match because I think people, they're hip to that. They know, like, okay, we're in the early stage, like an Iron Man match. At the beginning of the Iron Man match, the first half, it's like, this doesn't really matter. What matters is the last, 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, Charlotte and Asuka started this thing, and they wrestled for 5 minutes until Io came out there. Io, she came out with a trash can lid with her name written on it. And I got to stop what we're doing here because we have to address the bomb in the chat. And this.
Oh, get the bomb squad.
Yep. We got our guy Dwayne Jackson with a $100 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, with Mercedes being at Ring of Honor final battle versus Red Velvet for the ROH TV title, since she lost against Stat, if Red Velvet beats Mercedes, do you think AEW will pivot Mercedes versus Athena at Revolution and build towards that, or Mercedes winning the title at Revolution? I didn't know that this match was announced until this week. I saw what the rundown of the card was going to be, and I immediately thought of what Jason has been talking about with Mercedes. I think Red Velvet beats Mercedes on Friday.
Yes, that's exactly what I think.
Yeah. So I think I think we're going to have her start losing these titles one by one, and she's going to start with that one.
Yeah, and then she still has to lose the TBS title as far as who that person's going to be. But yeah, I don't see it where you do her and Athena and she beats Athena. I don't think she's beaten anybody big for a while.
No, but yeah, Ring of Honor is this Friday with Final Battle, and Mercedes is on the show, so that should be something there. We'll keep an eye out on that. Dwayne, thank you very much, brother. That is a large sum of money, and Jason and I really, really appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much. Io came out with a trash can lid with her name written on it in red. And this started the myriad of wrestlers coming out with their preferred weapons. Io with the trash can lid. Becky Lynch came out with a kendo stick. And then Alexa Bliss came out with no weapon, which was nice to see. Kairi Sane came out with a green steel chain. And then Rhea Ripley came out with a trash can to complete Io's trash can spot. She actually came out with the physical trash can. Io came out with the lid. And then she also had kendo sticks in a trash bag that were wrapped in black tape. So everybody came in there with their preferred choice of weapon, most of them anyway.
I will say that I did appreciate the addition of a new rule this year that if you leave the cage, you forfeit the match for your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Tony Khan.
So I very much appreciate that, and I hope that's a rule that sticks, and I would love that rule to migrate over to Blood and Guts next year. I think that would be great, too.
Yes, we'll get into that, where they actually, in my opinion, I thought they played it off beautifully in the men's match and kind of found that nice little loophole there to kind of bypass that new little rule. But, Jason, this women's match went 40 minutes, just a little bit over 40 minutes, and the first 30 minutes of it, man, if my memory serves me correct, literally nothing happened in the first 30 minutes. And genuinely, I was questioning, what the fuck are we even doing here, bro? It was a mirror image of what we got last year. And, you know, the narrative that I know you and me and a lot of other smart individuals in the community were pushing were, does this really need a War Games? Nothing about anything that these women did, even when the match was over, nothing about it signified war. Nothing about it really warranted it being inside a cage. And I even said on my review on Saturday, you know, there was nothing that happened in the match. There was nothing that happened after the match. Becky tapped just as quickly as she did at WrestlePalooza to AJ Lee and the Black Widow. I'm looking at this and I'm saying, if they just listen to the fucking criticisms and give us a traditional 5-on-5 elimination Survivor Series match without the need to do 2 of these every single year and then have them be the same thing every single year, there would have been more story in a traditional 5-on-5 elimination match than there would have been in this War Games match. Truly. I don't know what the fuck they thought that they were doing here, but there was no blood. There was no semblance of story. None of it really made any sense. Becky and AJ...
You can't tell me that you honestly expected there to be blood in this women's Blood and Guts. I'm sorry, this women's War Games. Like, you did not honestly expect that.
No, I did not expect it. But, I mean, if you want to change up and have some fucking fun with it, I feel like Rhea Ripley, Io, Asuka, and Kairi Sane is something that could have added, you know, just a little bit of color to add to their tensions.
It's not what they do. But that's not, it goes against everything that this company believes in when it comes to the women. They won't do it.
Well, I'm not asking for Sky Blue bleeding rivers of blood in the first 4 minutes. I'm just like Punk and Cody did it right. It was just a nice accent to what was going on there. You know, something like that.
They won't do that. They won't do that with the women though. It's still a PG product. I mean, you can say that it's a little edgier in some respects, but it's still a PG product. They're not going to do that. They don't want women bleeding in these matches.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what we need to do or if he's even going to change what we're doing next year. I know the discussion is just stop doing them. Maybe do something else. I know I heard people do a Survivor Series elimination match. I heard you say maybe they bring the Iron Survivor to Survivor Series next year. That would be fantastic and just a nice change of scenery. But, I mean, if they're going to start filling out 47,000, 48,000 people at a fucking stadium for Survivor Series, do you genuinely feel like they're going to get rid of War Games? I don't think so.
No, War Games is here to stay. They're not getting rid of it. So, because, you know, the people who love these matches on Saturday, or the people probably even in WWE making these decisions would go, we know what we're doing. We had 46,000 people in the stadium, so clearly this concept works, and we're just going to keep doing it. We're going to do it next year. We're going to do it the year after that. And don't even be surprised if at some point in the next couple of years, we get 2 nights of Survivor Series.
Well, you know, Punk, before this show aired, I think he was interviewed by some publication, and he said that the women's War Games match deserves to main event over the men.
Well, the only reason he said that is because he said selfishly he wanted to see his wife. Yes. So he didn't want to worry about, you know, getting ready for his match. He wanted to be done with his match, and then he could relax and watch his wife in War Games.
But looking at what happened here, they it was almost, it's sad to even say. I just felt like they were trying to cosplay what a War Games match is. It's like they were playing around with their friends in there. Nothing about it signified war. No. Io did her signature spot off the top rope, which, it looked great. It always does, but it's like, are you going to really give us a War Games match just so Io could jump off the top of the fucking cage in a trash can? I mean, she's done this every single year. And it comes down to it, and this is even more egregious in the fucking men's match, Jason. A lot of these women have been in multiple War Games matches. Rhea's been in almost every War Games match. Io's been in every War Games match. Becky's been in a few. I mean, Nia's been in a couple. It's like, it's the same merry-go-round of people every single year.
You can say that about the men, though. This
I know.
is the issue overall with these matches, is that there's such a sameness to it that it feels like I'm watching Survivor Series from last year. I mean, look at the men's match.
I know. It's the same team. It's the same team from last year. I know.
Same fucking people on the team, dude. Last year, 2024, we had Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso. The only difference is that Cody Rhodes took the place of Sami Zayn. It's like a theater play. It's like Sami Zayn is out with the flu, and taking the place of Sami Zayn tonight is Cody Rhodes. But otherwise, the team looks exactly the same. So you could say the same thing about the men's War Games match. They don't deviate from the same people, right down to some of the spots that they do. I love Io to death, but like, how many years are we going to have her putting a garbage can over her head and jumping off the top of the cage?
It's like it's just like a comedy show. She's like a clown. They tell her to go out there and jump, and she jumps. It's like,
well, that's what it is. I mean, and again, it's just become a collection of spots, and there's no real thread to it. Really, there's no real story to it. Yeah, the other issue also with this show, you mentioned 4 matches. And it's not the first time that WWE has had a PLE with only 4 matches. It's happened a few times before. But they only had 4 matches on a show, where this was a show in retrospect that really could have used an Ilya Dragunov U.S. title open challenge. And I feel like, because we didn't have one on Friday on that tape show. So they absolutely could have done one at Survivor Series. And I do feel like, because the rest of the show just felt, to me anyway, felt so lackluster, a match like that, depending on who he was in the ring with, could have made a huge difference. And it would have just been the 5th match. It's not like you
or even Priest and Black. Like they've been I mean, he got a fireball to the eye and they're still feuding. Like, the fuck are we doing there?
He got a fireball to the eye and they're still feuding, and it's like, what match do you do with them? Because they already had the last man standing match, dude. They started with that.
Inferno match, pal.
I guess so. I don't know where else you go from here. You already had the last man standing match. Usually that comes at the end. They did that at the beginning. But yeah, I mean, so you can't tell me that you could not find a place for a 5th match. I just said the open challenge because you had the Intercontinental title being defended. Dragunov has been just bang on with every defense, every match so far. You absolutely could have done that on the show. Now, knowing them, it probably would have been him against Tama Tonga, or they would have done him against Tommaso Ciampa. But, okay, fine. I think that would have made a little bit of a difference. We were really missing something like that on this show. I'll tell you what else has become an issue with these shows. I don't really understand why we go from one extreme to the other. When we talk about the AEW pay-per-views, they throw so much at you. It's too much, right? They overload you. WWE goes the exact opposite way. And what has become really noticeable to me in watching these shows, even though it can be beneficial if I'm, trying to take notes because I'm going live when the show is over, so I have all this extra time, all the dead space between the matches. Dude, it's like 20 minutes.
Bro, when Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella mercifully ended, it was 25 minutes from when that match ended until the actual first bell rang for the men's War Games match. Yes. 25 minutes. I got up and did 2 loads of laundry. I put clothes in the dryer, folded the first load, and I made myself a latte. And then I came back and I had 8 minutes left over.
Yes.
Like, where the fuck is my show? What am I paying for?
It's ridiculous. These are the premium live events, and there's no excuse to have 25 minutes in between matches. Can we not have some happy medium where instead of 25 minutes, or instead of just quickly going from one match to the next because we have 10 of them to do, can we find some happy medium here? Is it really that difficult? I don't know. That's the way these shows used to be. So I mean, it can't be that hard. And the other issue is also because you have so few matches. Now I understand you had 20 people between the two War Games matches alone, right? You had a lot of people just concentrated in those two. But part of the problem, I think everything feels so samey on these shows is because think of all the people who don't get a spot on these PLEs. Even if you had 5 matches, right? But it's even worse if you have 4. You can look at so many different people on that SmackDown roster, on that Raw roster, like they don't stand a chance of getting a spot on one of these PLEs. So they're left sitting in the back or they're left sitting at home. And it's like, man, it would be nice to have some fresh faces like that actually on the premium live events. But we don't get that. We get a lot of the same stuff over and over again. And that doesn't help either.
Yeah, this was difficult to watch. Just to sit through.
It's tough. It's tough to sit through that when there's just such a huge gap in between the action, right?
The commercialization of everything, including this thing that we both do to fucking now put a roof over our head, keep a roof over our head. It's just to see it deteriorate into this commercialized fucking nonsense. It's painful. It's sad. Like I get. These fucking screens where it says commercial break for like fucking 5 minutes. It's like, can you give me a fucking post-match interview? Can you give me Kathy Kelly so at least I have something to look at? Like what? That's
one of the things I miss about the old Survivor Series format is because they had all those elimination matches with these weird teams that they would put together. You know, a lot of what you got was let's go to the back, and then you would have all 4 or 5 team members being interviewed. And, you know, you had all these colorful personalities. So it was kind of funny. I'll never forget, like, there were some years where, like, you had the Ultimate Warrior who was just a fucking nut job. And he could be teaming with, like, the Rockers and somebody else. There was one interview that still stands out to me in my head. I don't even remember if it was a Survivor Series match. You remember the one where he had the athletic tape? And as the other guys were being interviewed, Warrior is just circling all of his teammates, wrapping the tape around them.
Yes.
And we're like, what is he? But he's like, but it's to the point where he's going to he almost like he's suffocating them. Like Shawn Michaels is like gasping for air, trying to make sure that like, you know, the tape isn't around. And I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. And I don't think he knows what he's doing, but like, can we get something entertaining like that in between the matches where you like interview people backstage? Like what happened to those personalities?
I don't know, man. It's just nothing about this is fun. AJ Lee and Becky Lynch had tensions, which, I mean, AJ took 2 months off of television to do God knows what. Becky Lynch was on TV doing her thing. They put them in there because they're stars, and they added to the star allure of this match. There wasn't any real feud. She tapped out to AJ at WrestlePalooza, and then she disappeared, but they're in the War Games match. Lash Legend and Nia Jax, they cost Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss the Tag Team Championships. Let's put them in War Games. Not really what I think of War Games, but that's what WWE thought was the best idea there. And then we got Rhea, Io, Asuka, and Kairi. Literally the only thing, if you even want to talk about like what exactly was a War Game situation here, those 4 and what they've been through and what they've been doing with their story, if they wanted to build around that and put them in War Games, those are the only 4 that made any sense here. Outside that, this was a nonsensical 40 minutes. Nothing happened in here. Nothing happened in the aftermath.
The safest War Games match
literally
I have ever seen.
Literally. I mean, if you need to construct a War Games match, this is not what you are going to look for as far as influence or inspiration. Lash Legend was in there. A lot of people were like, JD, you're going to give Lash Legend her flowers. I mean, I want to at some point. She was in there and she had a good 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes tops. She threw a great big boot. She got into it with Rhea Ripley. She got a great forearm. And then she got misted in the face and got taken out of the match because they need to protect her. So it's like, did she belong in there? No. Did she look like she belonged with the others because of how great she looks? Yes. And she's going to be a big star if they actually do what they need to do. But did she belong in there? No.
No. I mean, it's kind of wild when you think about it because they even said like this is her first official match as like a full-time member of the main roster. And it's War Games. And it's her first match. And I think there's a reason why we didn't see too much of her. I don't think yeah, they want to protect her as much as possible. But I also think they realize like she's not exactly ready for this spot. So we really need to limit what she does in there. So all she needs to do is maybe a couple of impressive looking power moves. And then it was kind of smart the way they took her out by doing the accidental misting. But I think they kept it brief with her on purpose. And not just to protect her, but just because it's like, all right, she really is not in a position to be doing too much in this match, which to me tells you she probably shouldn't have been in there to begin with. But she's very athletic. I think she has the potential to be a big star for them, but no. Should she have been in War Games in her first match in? No.
Does Triple H? Let me say this: is Triple H feeling the heat from the criticism of what his father-in-law did with Hell in a Cell? Is he starting to realize that after 4 years of this shit, that these matches are going the same way that his father-in-law, Vince McMahon, did to Hell in a Cell, where every October we got a Hell in a Cell match because Hell was synonymous with Halloween, and Vince was like, let's put a red cage around these two guys and put them out there in October and call it Hell in a Cell, and we'll do multiple matches. There was one year where there was 3 Hell in a Cell matches on one show.
I think that was the year where they had Undertaker and Punk, I think, open the show in Hell in a Cell.
I think Roman Reigns and Rusev were in a fucking Hell in a Cell as well.
With 3 of them on that show?
Yes. I have to go look, but I remember there was 3 of them, and then because I think there was one year where I think SmackDown got a Hell in a Cell match for some reason, and then Monday Night needed a Hell in a Cell. They put Bobby Lashley and Xavier Woods in Hell in a Cell match. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
Like, what the fuck? Man, you want to ruin something, then by all means, just look at what Vince McMahon did. Is he getting to a point where he's just killing the concept and people are going to be like, maybe we need to take a break from this and do something else and then kind of revisit it like we did Drew McIntyre and CM Punk? Because what they did is bring it back to at least some form of its former glory. And they did a great job there. Are we looking at that same situation here, or is it just they're making too much money and they're not going to abandon that?
No, I mean, I think we are looking at that. You're facing that when you don't have the right stories going into those matches. You're absolutely going to end up facing that. So I think he's facing it now. Does he care? Does he see it that way himself? He might not, because look, they did the big all-star team in the men's match. And I think to them, as long as you have the stars in there and they have the big names in there, I don't know that they care. I think they could just construct a story around that. And as long as they're putting 40,000 people in these buildings, and I mean, what they charge for those tickets, so I'm sure they made a shitload of money on Saturday, then no, I don't think feeling the heat, I don't get that impression. I think he's smart enough to understand that he will end up killing the concept, over a period of time. It took years for Hell in a Cell really to be killed. And it took a while for it to recover. And now it's better now because you kind of dust it off when you need it, right? Like they did with Punk and McIntyre. We're not there yet with War Games, but I think we're getting there rapidly. I think he's smart enough to know that, but does he care enough to change? I don't think he has an incentive to change. I don't think he has an incentive to move away from the format. I don't think he likes the elimination format. I can understand it. It is a somewhat dated concept, but I also think they got away from it for so long. Like the women's match just screamed elimination match to me.
Yeah.
Like even more than the men's.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like there's got to be some sort of solution where maybe you have one, and like in a given year, you have one, either with the men or the women, whichever one makes more sense. The other one could be a Survivor Series elimination match. Or again, if you wanted to adapt the Iron Survivor Challenge from NXT, which has been a real hit for NXT, and maybe you switch off from year to year, right? Maybe that's the compromise.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Ben Espinosa in the chat said Roman, Rusev, Sasha, Charlotte, Seth, Kevin Owens in 2016 were the 3. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's overkill.
Yep. And then there was another, I think someone else mentioned that it was 2009, there was 3.
That might have been the Undertaker and Punk one.
Yeah. Yeah, 2009, 2016, and 2020 all had 3 Hell in a Cell matches.
Well, 2020 was Roman and Jay.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of the other ones on that show.
Me neither.
I couldn't even tell you what the other ones were.
Yeah, that was actually a good Hell in a Cell match because it was so story-driven. I didn't mind
because
that
there were no fans there. So they could be all dramatic and cinematic with it, right? Roman was crying. Did he have tears in his eyes or whatever in that match?
Yes.
Jimmy threw himself on his brother. It was like something out of a fucking soap opera. So yeah, I mean that's like the one benefit of those Thunderdome shows. You didn't have to worry about the crowd. That's why they were able to get by with all those tricks with like Alexa and the Fiend, and they would do like these magic tricks.
The fireballs and the fucking shit falling from the ceiling.
The zombies, right? Yeah, the zombies eat the Miz, right? Remember that?
Oh my God. And we'll talk about the Zombie Channel with TNA a little bit later. Yeah, this was awful. I didn't care. It was better than last year's because last year's was even worse, believe it or not. This was not much better. So it's a low bar. If anybody said, well, JD was better than last year's, what are you comparing? Really, what you can't compare the two. They were both equally as bad. John Cena and Dominic Mysterio. This was for the Intercontinental Championship. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez did not make it into War Games, but they got to mingle it up with John Cena here in his last PLE match ever. I think everybody was in agreement that John Cena coming into this needed to lose the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think that was ever a question. It was always about, well, how does he lose it? Because Dominic wasn't certainly going to beat him clean. So we're looking at this, Jason. We got that match in Boston a few weeks ago. He won the title. It was a great moment. It was a standard house show match. It didn't really light the world on fire like we've seen Cena and Styles and Cena and Logan Paul, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes. He's had some great string of matches. We didn't really expect that there.
No, but it was fine.
Yeah,
that match in Boston was what it needed to be.
Yeah, I had no problem with it at all. It was a great moment. And more than likely, with Meltzer and what he reported, we were probably going to get this match anyway at Survivor Series. Nothing else really made sense. I know a lot of people want to see him against Sheamus or something along those lines. And nothing else made sense. I would much rather them have continued this story than just kind of randomly pick somebody else for him to beat. And he didn't need to take that title into DC. This was, in my opinion, much better than what we got in Boston. Overbooked as fuck, but again, I did not mind it. I felt like everything that they did, though comical and overbooked, I felt like it made a lot of sense. And then you called it the last couple of weeks. You mentioned Liv Morgan coming back. I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe that it would be better served for the Royal Rumble. But when I saw her and what she did here, I didn't mind it at all. And I'm just glad that she's back because she adds a lot of story element now to the Judgment Day, now that she's back with Dominic Mysterio. And she was the catalyst that helped Dominic win the championship here. I actually enjoyed this for what it was, minus the overbooking. I didn't even mind it with that. It was a little comical because we saw the Judgment Day, and then we got that fucking spot on the outside where Cena, he tried to counter that Hurricane Rana. It almost looked like a power bomb, but we got the same spot that Penta did with Solo here. It looked like Dominic took a worse bump, and I legitimately bought into it. I thought he was legitimately hurt. I thought they did an excellent job with that, and then when he popped up and he was playing possum, I'm like, man, this is fucking good stuff. I enjoyed what they produced here. I thought this was good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. Selfishly, I was kind of hoping, like, as a match, like, they gave us a very basic match in Boston. This was his final PLE match, and we've seen him have some really great ones over the last few months. So I was kind of hoping we would get a better, like, in-ring match with the two of them before all the shenanigans kicked in. So that was my only real disappointment with it. Otherwise, I mean, the crowd ate it up. They loved seeing Liv Morgan back. They were popping for some of those last couple of near falls. So yeah, I mean, it was fine. It wasn't. It certainly wasn't one of Cena's best PLE matches of the year that we'll look back on, but it was his last. And now Dominic Mysterio can say that he beat John Cena in his last PLE match ever, which is a nice little feather in his cap. They had to get the belt. The only real objective here should have been get the belt off of John Cena.
Yep.
So they accomplished that. They accomplished two things. They got the belt off of him, and they got Liv Morgan back in the mix, which is huge. And we already saw it last night. She's basically the de facto leader of the Judgment Day, right? I mean, she's basically running the ship there.
Yep.
So it served its purpose. Dom went over. He got his belt back. And the Judgment Day is one big happy family. And John Cena, we're down to the last 2 weeks here. This is it. End of the road.
Yeah, I don't believe we got one more match left. Back in January, we were looking at 30, 35, 36 fucking dates. Now we're down to one.
Well, when he was a heel, he was counting down the appearances. And then when he turned back babyface, he stopped counting. One appearance left. Period. I mean, we're not even talking one match. I mean, he's got no appearances until December 13th.
Yep. So Liv Morgan came out here, and the referee was down after this spot where he got taken out. So Judgment Day was out there. McDonough went for a moonsault. Cena blocked that. Balor coup de grace. Cena got them on his shoulders and hit a double AA. Dominic grabbed the IC title, tried using it. Cena ducked, hit another AA. Cena called for another referee, but out came Liv Morgan instead. She acted happy to see Cena and Dom, but she jumped into Cena's arms,
Or she slapped Dom.
She slapped Dom, jumped into Cena's arms, and then gave him a low blow. And then one thing led to another with the title meeting Cena's face. And 619, Frog Splash, 1, 2, 3, and Dominic and Liv celebrate winning the IC title again for a second time. So we'll talk about Monday Night Raw when we get there, but I hope that they kind of facilitate the story with Liv being back now and, you know, her kind of acting as the leader, which is going to upset Finn, who's always been of the, I guess, argument that there is no leader in the Judgment Day. So Liv is going to start taking the reins there.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's no leader of the Judgment Day, but like his eyes tell a different story. It's like there's no leader of the Judgment Day, but I'm the leader of the Judgment Day.
Yeah, and then Roxanne Perez almost cowering behind Dominic because she didn't want Liv to see her. So I saw that too last night. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm excited to see where they go with that because there's a lot of fun stuff that they could do there. But Dominic wins 17 minutes, new IC champ. Stephanie and Nikki. The less we talk about this, the better.
Yeah, the only seconds or less.
Yeah, the only time people popped here were for the two Devil's Kiss moves, one on the table, the announce table, and then one in the ring. And Wade Barrett said that Michael called the best view in the house when it happened on the table. I don't disagree with Wade Barrett. So that was that. Vaquer slid Bella back in the ring, Devil's Kiss, and then that spiral tap finish, which looks beautiful.
Well, it's not. It's like a corkscrew. Splash.
Yeah. Awesome stuff there. Stephanie wins in 12 minutes, and then Nikki's a loser. She turned heel, loses, and somewhere along the lines, I
she'll
read.
Be back.
Yeah, apparently we haven't seen the last of her. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen the last of her.
Great.
So, okay, sure. We've seen the last of her when it comes to the World Championship, because there's no reason to run this back again. This was a one and done. It was a match that really did not have any business being on this show. So when we talk about how there was only 4 matches, you could absolutely have replaced this with a different championship match. There just wasn't. Can you blame the fans? The fans weren't into it because they had no reason to be. You could just look at the promos leading up to the match and you knew it was a very cold feud. There just wasn't much to it. And you had someone in there getting a world championship match who had not won a match on television since July against Chelsea Green. And all of a sudden she's wrestling for the world championship. So it's like, okay, I guess because she turned on Stephanie, we're just supposed to buy into her as like, this woman has a real shot, at becoming the world champion. I told you the only way I could buy into that it might actually happen is if they pull this twin magic nonsense and they bring back Brie. And I'm very happy they didn't do that. I'm very happy. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying that's the only way I could have seen it going down. And they didn't do it. They just beat her straight up. That's why it goes back to what I said before, where it's like, okay, we got past this, but now what? The only thing they even teased last night was Stephanie and Liv. But it was more like Liv just letting her know, like, hey, I'm back. That doesn't mean Liv is going to be next in line for a title match. So, like, what is next for her? It would naturally be Raquel or Roxanne, would it not?
For Stephanie?
Yeah.
Well, Roxanne already made, I guess she has her eyes on Maxine Dupree. There was a backstage segment last week.
Well, I mean, not only that, but they were also in the tag team title mix at the end of the show last night. So
they want all the gold.
So there you go. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe they're going to go after all the gold, and it's going to be either Raquel or Roxanne next in line. Because remember, Roxanne had an issue with Nikki getting a shot over her. It's like, why is she getting a shot?
Yeah,
I'm the one who's gotten some wins in recent weeks. If not them, then who? It's like we're in kind of the same place on Monday with the main women's title that I feel like we're in on Friday, where we're kind of low on the challenger side. Like realistically, who would be next in line for Stephanie?
Why is there not a focus on Stephanie to begin with? Like I don't really understand.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other issue. I mean, this woman is barely visible on television.
Is she hurt? Do they not want to focus on her because she's hurt? I don't know.
No, I don't think she's hurt. I don't know what's going on. It's been this way for months, dude. There was a period of time in like August, maybe into the beginning of September, right before WrestlePalooza, where she did talk about how she had some kind of virus. She was sick. Outside of that, I cannot explain why or why it is that she is so seldomly visible on these shows outside of maybe a brief backstage segment here or there. She had one in-ring promo a few months ago where she actually got to cut a promo, and it wasn't bad. but they just don't feature her in any sort of significant way.
You know what would work here? This is where, because they got all these other women tied up in now the tag team title picture, which I mentioned last night, and I'll mention it now. It's almost like Triple H saw what Tony Khan's doing with his tag team division now with the women, and Triple H wants to get in on all the fun, like, oh, he's going to do that. I'll show him the star power I have. Look at these teams I have over here. So what I thought about what would work here, which we haven't seen in a while, this is where an enhancement match, like a local indie talent comes on in, Stephanie gives them 5-6 minutes, and then boom, you get her on TV, you get her wrestling.
With the world champion? Should the world champion be wrestling enhancement talent on TV?
What else are you going to do? Look at everybody else tied up. Who else is she going to wrestle is the point I'm trying to make.
They should have somebody lined up for her. She's your women's world champion.
Yeah, they got Liv Morgan lined up for her now.
She's your women's world champion / crown jewel champion, whatever that's worth.
All right. Don't you think? I mean, don't you think she needs to wrestle in between with her and her next defense?
Yeah, but she should be. Yeah, but if you have your world champion, I don't put them in there with scrubs. I mean, I put them in there with people that have some level of credibility on the roster that people know.
I don't know. Just get her in the ring to wrestle. She's too good to just be hidden away. Like fine. She doesn't speak well. She speaks fine in my opinion, but I mean, what else? What else are you going to do? There's nothing else for her to do. And it's sad. It makes me question why they even call these people up. Julia, Stephanie. Like, Stephanie's just a token champion until they get the belt on who they really want.
Julia who? Who's this Julia that you speak of?
I don't know. Where is
Who's she?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who she is anymore. You have a better idea.
Mm-hmm.
Sure sucks. Men's War Games. Cody, Punk, Reigns, Uso, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, the Usos. Against Brock, Drew, Logan, Braun, and Bronson Reed. There was a report from WrestleVotes about a political play backstage where there was egos running wild about who's coming out first and who's coming out before who. And I said, all these egos in one match, and they're all concerned about who the fuck is coming out as far as their entrance first over the other. It's like, why don't you make sure the match is the way it needs to be before you start complaining about who's coming out first?
Yeah, they're so worried about, well, who's going to come out first and who's going to come out last and who's going to come out second. Like, can you imagine them actually trying to figure out who's getting eliminated in a traditional elimination match?
Oh, that would have never worked out.
What a fucking nightmare that would be. Like, half the team would be counted out or disqualified because we can't beat people. So we'll have them wrestle off into the crowd and we'll just count them out. Like, what a disaster that would be. Yeah, when they came out, I was surprised that Punk came out first. Because he is one of the, I don't know, would he be the oldest one in that match?
Well, it would have either been Roman first or last. So that's the way he usually operates.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying, like, Punk, I think, was the oldest one. How old is Brock? Punk's older than Brock, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Punk's the oldest one in the match. He's 47 years old, 48 years old. And he's coming out there at the beginning of a match that is not going less than 40 minutes. So I was like, wow, that's okay. That's a choice. Now, I didn't even notice anything. So a couple of things about Punk's entrance. Obviously, we found out the awful news today about Larry the dog.
Yes. So
Larry the dog passed away. I don't know exactly what day, but obviously it happened either the day of Survivor Series or sometime before. It happened before Survivor Series, maybe not the day of. But when he came out, I didn't even really pay too much attention to the fact he was wearing a jacket that said Larry's dad. If you go back and look, he's like clutching the jacket and he looks very sad. Like, you could tell when you really look at his face, you could tell that he just didn't look in a great mood. The other thing I also didn't notice was, and I should have noticed this because I'm a huge fan of the movie, on his gear, he had Halloween 3 gear that he was wearing. So if you've ever seen the movie Halloween 3, which again, in my opinion, is the second best of all the Halloween movies, it's the one that had nothing to do at all with Michael Myers. But it's about this, this evil warlock, basically, who's in human form, who creates all of these Halloween masks that they're selling, and they're all the rage. They're really popular, and kids are buying them up, or the parents are buying them up. And it's for the big giveaway on TV at 9 o'clock on the night of Halloween. But what happens is when you put the mask on, bad shit happens, and worms and bugs and snakes come out of it, and it kills the kids. That's basically the idea behind it. So on his gear, he had all the different Halloween 3 masks on it. And then he had, there's like a little shamrock, I think, that he had on his jacket. And that was the name of the company in the movie that produced them, Silver Shamrock. So I don't know how I didn't pick up on that, but like, hey, hat tip to Punk. He's got a good taste in movies. The Larry thing is really sad though, because you could tell just from like the videos that he would post and the way he would talk about him, even in AEW, like how close he and AJ obviously were. This was like their child in many ways. You know, they got Larry from No Kill Shelter, I think about 10 or 11 years ago. And, you know, he had, I don't know what the issues were, but clearly he had certain challenges, certain physical challenges. But I remember him saying as soon as he saw the dog, like he knew, like, that's our dog. So they took in Larry, and Larry just became this whole popular character in wrestling. And if you've ever had a pet as part of your family, then you know the worst part about having a pet is that they don't live long enough, and that eventually you're going to have to say goodbye to that pet. So whether it's a cat or a dog or whatever it may be, and I know you can relate to this, it is one of the worst feelings in the world.
Yeah, I would never wish that pain on anybody, even my most mortal enemy. It's awful. I still have not recovered from last year. I think about that every day. I work in this office, legitimately right on my floor where she passed away, right in this room. You know, I read his message on Instagram today. I was sitting in my chair here and I was drinking my coffee, and I actually got a little teary-eyed reading the message. And he posted all of his IG stories is nothing but pictures of him and Larry, friends of his with Larry. It's literally the worst fucking feeling I've ever encountered in my entire life. Honestly, it's awful. So I feel for him. Me and Jason wish him nothing but the best. Him and AJ. That's just awful. I did notice the jacket. I didn't really kind of correlate that there was something wrong there. I just thought he was just showing love for Larry, but we found out today that Larry had passed on. So, but yeah,
So going into a match like that, you know, with that on your mind, I'm sure was not easy. And now we know why he wasn't on the show last night. They said he wasn't medically cleared. I'm sure he just wasn't on the show last night because of what was going on.
More than enough reason to miss a show for sure.
Yeah, but it was him and Bron Breakker who opened the match, and we're going to be seeing more of those two very soon. And obviously, they factored into the finish together as well. So, but again, as was the case with the women's match, not a whole lot going on in the early part of this War Games match.
No, Punk entered first. I thought the same thing. I'm like, man, he's going to go at least 40 minutes. So he's got quite the undertaking for himself here. But it's Punk, and he's done a lot in his short time back in WWE. But he went 40 minutes here. He started the match with Breakker. He climbed the cage just like AJ Lee did when she entered for the women. She climbed up the cage to enter because Becky had stranglehold on the door, trying to hold it shut so AJ couldn't get in through the door. So AJ climbed up and Punk did the same thing. So they went back and forth. So this was where the heels had the advantage in this because McIntyre and Logan Paul on Raw beat the Usos to get the War Games advantage, whereas in the women's match, the babyfaces had the advantage, which you look at that and it's like, well, that's odd. You know, you got a War Games match and the heels are fighting from behind. It's just kind of like bizarre to even look at, which added to the there's insignificant heat that the match had. It's like, what were they really fighting for, and who was threatened?
Well, you know what the problem with that is? You can't. I understand that you can't have the heels just get the advantage every year.
No.
The problem is we have two War Games matches now. If you only had one, I feel like it would be less of an issue. And you could still have the heels mostly get the advantage, but then have that odd year maybe where the baby faces get it. But when you have two War Games matches, it's almost like you're compelled to do like, okay, one has, you know, the baby face advantage and the other one has the heel advantage. So that's where I think having two in the same night works against them.
Well, it would be a lot better if there was actually some significant story that we cared about and we didn't really focus on this minor shit like that. But that's what happens when there is two, and it happens every year. It's like, how many times can you do the same thing over and over again? You got to do something different. You're compelled to do something different. So Punk was in there, and he actually was fighting from behind. He had Drew McIntyre and Bron Breakker in there at the same time. So he was down a man here until we got the next one to come out, which Cody Rhodes saved the day. Cody came out in the middle here. So he's the WWE champion. And with the whole political argument that WrestleVotes put out, Cody came out here and he got his, I just find it funny how he kind of lingered on the outside until we got to the woe section of his song. So he also climbed up to the cage So he wanted to get his big elaborate entrance there. So he climbed up the cage.
I'm sorry, boys. I can't help you yet. We haven't gotten to the part of the song yet.
So he climbs up and he does a crossbody off of the top. And he was actually off the top of the cage. It wasn't just off the top rope. He came off the top of the cage. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? So it looked good. It looked like he wasn't going to kill himself. It was a safe enough spot. So we had Breakker in there, and this is the spot that a lot of people were talking about by the time this match was over. The Doomsday Device by Punk and Cody on Bron Breakker, where he landed very awkwardly on his neck. I jumped off my couch. I'm like, ugh, that looked fucking terrible. But I attribute it, Jason, to Bron Breakker not having, he's not human. He might not even have a real neck, honestly. And I remember I go to see these death metal bands where the singer, who doesn't play an instrument, he's just on stage and he's fucking twirling his hair and his neck and he's just fucking headbanging to 12 songs for an hour and a half. It's like, my dad used to call those guys rubbernecks. So it's like Bron Breakker's got a rubberneck. It's like you can't hurt him. So he just popped up and he was continuing the match like nothing happened.
Yeah. For a guy that they seem to really be building a lot around heading into next year, that might not be the smartest thing for him to be taking moves like that.
No.
He should be the one giving moves like that. I don't know that he should be the one taking a move like that, but yeah, I mean, I guess the doctor went over to check on him off screen and make sure he wasn't concussed or anything like that, and I guess he was okay. But yeah, it was in the moment, it was a very scary, it was just a very scary landing. And, it's tough because, I don't know, man, when you do a move like that, I don't know, has he ever taken a Doomsday Device before? I don't remember ever seeing him take that bump before, because usually he would be the one doing a move like that. So did he just kind of forget where he was? Did he? I don't know. I don't know. People were blaming Punk. I saw some people blaming Punk online. I'm like, what are you blaming Punk for? What did he do? He didn't do anything wrong. He's just a bad landing. Like there's no blame to really go around. It's just they're lucky it didn't go a lot worse.
If you're a savant in pro wrestling, you've seen the Steiners or the Legion of Doom deliver a fucking Doomsday Device where the guy shouldn't even be alive after the fucking move was executed. You kidding me?
Yeah.
We've seen that a lot worse, but like in 2025, you're kind of shocked to see something like that because, like Jason said, this guy's the future of the fucking company.
Yeah. Maybe protect him a little bit more.
I guess Cody took those comments he said on Friday with that impassioned promo where he said there'll never be a situation where a Steiner's better than a Rhodes. I'm like, all right. He took that literally. He wanted to fucking kill the guy. So he's in there. Doomsday Device. He ended up all right. Logan Paul came out. He brought in steel chair. The guys didn't bring in weapons until this. Logan Paul went underneath the ring and
Drew told him to. Drew's like, go grab some chairs. And but here's the thing that I laughed at, and I guess they wanted to do it for like dramatic effect. Like they had that moment where he motioned to Paul Heyman, "Give me the knucks," and Paul Heyman pulled out the brass knucks. I'm like, dude, you could have just brought it in yourself. You know that, right? You didn't have to ask somebody else for it.
Maybe he forgot. He wasn't thinking about it.
Okay. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
He forgot? Okay.
Yeah, he forgot the Nux.
Slipped his mind?
Yep. So he brought in chairs.
Obviously gave it to Heyman. So, I mean, he clearly knew that Heyman had it.
So he brought in chairs at the request of McIntyre. Uso came in, and then he brought in a Slim Jim table because Big Jim needs the Slim Jim.
Oh, yeah.
So he brings in the table. The heels are in control. Bronson Reed came in. He tsunami'd everybody. Punk, Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Cody got tsunamis. So at this point, Jey Uso comes in. And fans were yeeting. He came down. He took his time. He didn't really run to the ring. There wasn't a sense of urgency from Jey Uso. So he gets in there. He hands out super kicks. Helps Jimmy to his feet. Some more super kicks. They give Logan Paul a 1D. And then Jay does the run it back. He climbs the cage. And in the middle of the War Games match, we're about 25 minutes in this thing now, he climbs the cage. And like Jason said, he does things to the cage up on top. And he starts yeeting with 46,000 people at Petco Park in San Diego. Now, on a normal situation, Jason, when he wants to run it back, it's fine. I'm over it. I don't give a shit. I know why they do it. But, I mean, on Saturday, I said, I wish that they would read the room a little bit. There are situations that I feel like WWE abuses. And this is not one of those situations where I feel like it's called upon to go just stop a War Games match to go fucking yeet. But there are times and places where that should not be even a thought in anybody's mind on the creative team. Let's have this guy stop the match to go eat. Like, it doesn't, it almost makes the joke of the match. Like, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, but I gotta call it out when I see it. Shit like this happening. It doesn't need to be there. Like, you do it enough, take the match and make it a fucking serious thing, and play the match as it's supposed to be, a war. I never seen a war game. Have you watched old school war games matches where they brought up where they stopped the match and they just fucking did whatever crowd participation in the middle of a fucking war games match?
Where the Horsemen and Dusty started dancing to Do-Si-Do in the middle of War Games. Now, I don't remember that War Games. I never saw that one.
I mean, Punk got into it because he was playing air guitar on the steel chair, and then he went right back to fucking bashing people with the steel chair while Uso was up on top of the cage eating. Like, come on, man.
Well, look, even that one Royal Rumble where his dad, in the middle of the Rumble, was the one at Madison Square Garden where he started doing the dance with Too Cool, like in the middle of the Rumble, right? But then as soon as the dance was over, I think he eliminated Too Cool. So at least they had that little follow-up to it.
Yeah, that's fine. If there's nobody in the ring and you got to wait 90 seconds for the next guy to come out, fine.
Well, they got the visual of him, again, doing unspeakable things to this poor cage, and then all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar's music hits. And it's like, okay, party's over. You know, enough of the fun. Here comes Brock. He's not going to stand for this. And so out he came to the ring. And that was just a trip just to see him even involved in a match like this.
Yes.
Because he's never been a part of it before. And they said, like, he's never even been in any sort of tag team situation since 2003 or 2004.
Yep.
Because he doesn't play well with others. You know, he's always been a loner. He does his own thing. So there was the novelty of seeing him be a part of, like, a team, which we don't get to see. So, of course, he came in and he starts throwing people around and suplexing people, which is what you would expect him to do. I don't think he didn't come out with a weapon because he didn't really need a weapon.
No, Brock Lesnar is the weapon, and then he's got the cage. So it's like,
yes, which they didn't really. I mean, we kind of glossed over that Cody did bleed a little bit.
Yeah,
Punk did bleed. Again, it wasn't a lot, and it doesn't have to be a lot. I think probably towards the end of the match, the blood was gone. I didn't even see any blood on him at that point.
No.
But we got at least a little bit of color in a War Games match, which I think you should have.
Well, do you find it to be odd that it's Cody and Punk? I mean, they're as old school as it is, so it's like they probably went to Paul Levesque and said, we need some color here, and we want to bleed. So
yeah, well, I'm sure they did, or even if they didn't, I mean, it's better to ask forgiveness than ask permission sometimes. And if anybody can get away with it, they're the two champions, right? You would think that they're in a position where they can get away with it. Look, it's Cody.
Yes.
He's Dusty's kid. So of course he's going to bleed.
Yes. So I did very much enjoy that. Lesnar came out. I mean, everybody was complaining it's the same shit, which I agree with. F5s and suplexes. But the thing is, you look at Brock Lesnar contained inside this War Games, it's just a sight to behold. He's never been in it. You know, this is a match that is built for a guy like that. And the fact that he's even in there was just a spectacle in itself. So I didn't really give a shit what he did in there. I just want to see him throw people around like the fucking animal he is. So that's exactly what happened here, and I enjoyed that. And then, like we talked about earlier, they instituted this new rule where if you escape the cage or leave the cage at any point during the match when it is in progress, I guess when the bell rings, right? When the bell is officially rung and the match is already started.
That was the thing. And I don't think I realized that at first.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw Brock exit the cage door and stand on the steps when he knew Roman was coming out, I said, wait a minute. Did he forget the rule? But then they made it clear, like, once War Games officially begins, so the bell has to ring, everybody's already out there. At that point, you're not allowed to leave the cage or else you forfeit for your entire team. But up until that point,
it's free reign.
I guess, I guess it's fair game. So this was... At least they kept it to this one part of the match where they exploited this loophole.
Yes, and it made sense that it was Brock who kind of waited for Roman to come out because Roman was the last one out because Brock wanted revenge on what Roman did to him at MSG with the Superman punches and kind of embarrassing him there. So we got them with this gunslinger showdown in the aisleway. Brock came out right before the bell rang, so it was fair game to them. They brawled on the outside. We got a table spot. We got some hijinks on the outside, and then everybody eventually made their way back into the ring. And from that point on, it lasted another 10 minutes or so. And the situation all resulted in a masked man, a mystery man, wearing black. He had a face mask and a black hoodie. He climbed the cage, and he attacked Punk with a super kick. And then he also hit a curb stomp, and the crowd popped because they saw Seth Rollins' finishing move being executed here. And Wade Barrett went on to say, well, that couldn't have been Seth. He just had shoulder surgery. I'm like, yes, Wade Barrett, it's not Seth Rollins. I don't think it's Seth Rollins, but there's another name that people were talking about as the identity of the mystery man. So he quickly left.
Can we just acknowledge how stupid even the idea would be that it would be Seth Rollins? Like, what sense would it even make for it to be Seth Rollins?
Well,
Tell me what sense it would make.
Well, it was even, I know where you're going to go with that, but it was even more ridiculous where it was like Adam Pearce was whispering to Eddie Orangel, the referee. I'm hearing murmurs and whispers that people saw Seth Rollins walking around without his sling. It's like, what? So I know you mentioned it. I know I mentioned it last night. How stupid would it be for him to give up his championship only to then help the guys who took him out of the fucking group? Do you think we're fucking stupid?
We pulled one over on you. I'm like, what?
Who would write that?
Yeah, like it doesn't. Like people, they get so wrapped up in the moment. It's like, oh, he did it again. He fooled us again. I'm like, fooled us in what way? How did he fool us? Like the only fool would be Seth Rollins in this situation. So that doesn't even make any sense.
Let me vacate the title and get kicked out of my own group to then help them win war games against my mortal enemy, CM Punk.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, I know how we can get one over on the marks. I'll give up my world heavyweight championship. That'll fool them. So whoever the person was getting in and out of the cage awfully quick. So we can rule out some of these other names people were floating on social media.
It could be Chris Jericho, man. We don't know.
Oh, sure. Jericho, I mean, hey, he got himself in good shape. I'm sure he can move like quick as a cat out of the cage like this person was. Or even, how about Randy Orton, who's gigantic and as big as he's ever been. I don't think Randy Orton in his youth was moving around as quickly as this person was in and out of that cage.
No.
So the other thing we have to keep in mind here also, and I don't think it's going to be any of those people, but clearly we are not going to get the reveal for a while.
No.
And so technically, whoever ends up being revealed as the mystery attacker, it doesn't really have to be whoever was under the mask on Saturday at the actual event. So they could technically substitute anybody in there that they want to. So let's just keep that in mind. But I said it in my review before I even saw the report from PW Insider. I said, okay, it's Austin Theory. We heard the name mentioned, right? Meltzer was the first one many weeks ago who suggested he was going to be in the match. And I think we talked about it last week when we were going over the preview, where Seth Rollins getting hurt really did change the entire complexion and makeup of this match. This is a very different War Games match in terms of who's in it if Seth doesn't get hurt. And I think we would have seen Austin Theory with the Vision already. I think we would have seen Austin Theory joining the Vision at Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
And he would have already been in the group. He would have helped him beat Punk that night.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So they had to recalibrate and pivot and go a different way. And so, yes, they're going to introduce Austin Theory, clearly, as a new member of the Vision. And he will ultimately, whenever that day is, he will be revealed as that guy. And I hope it works out for him, because he has really been somewhat, like, for me, the way I look at this truly is make or break. Either this works, or I think his run, his career there is really, for all intents and purposes, he's cooked. I think it's over, because it's a very difficult thing even now to try to rehab him and get him to a level where the fans actually see him as a credible person on that roster, because he's been so marginalized since beating John Cena at WrestleMania. And think about how crazy that sounds. How marginalized he's been since beating John Cena at WrestleMania. You talk about a wasted John Cena win. That's one of the most wasted John Cena victories probably of the last 10 years, right?
Well, Vince loved him. It was more Triple H had no plans for him.
Well, I mean, that's what people have always said, but the reality is, like, he still got a win over John Cena at WrestleMania, and how you squander that is still something that boggles my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't much of a match. It wasn't actually a very good match at all.
10 minutes was awful.
it was 10 minutes and he cheated obviously and all that, but to do nothing with him and to go nowhere, and then he ends up being a comedy character on the show with Grayson Waller. He did that for like 2 years. And the longer you're in a comedy spot or a low card spot like that, it gets harder and harder for people to one day kind of wake up and be like, oh, I'm supposed to take you seriously now as a main eventer. Oh, okay. It's a hard thing to do. So I if it is him, and I think it is, I hope that this will be the big break that he has been searching for, because I do think as a wrestler, he's actually very good.
Yes.
But he's just been very bland. We just haven't had a real opportunity to see him, I think, truly come out of his shell. Maybe this will help him get there. But if this doesn't work, I think that's it. Like, there's really nowhere else for him to go but down if this doesn't work out.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that this will work. I think him standing next to Heyman and standing next to Logan Paul is going to make him kind of stand out just by association. Is this going to be a situation where you look at Austin Theory, and everything you said is factually correct? Is this a situation where he's been absent and off TV for a long time, and that people are not going to remember any of what you just said and are going to embrace him because it's been a long time since he's been on TV, and now he's back, and it's a long enough time to where people are going to be like, all right, let's give him another shot?
No, they'll remember. I don't think they're going to forget. In fact, I would even do a segment where maybe he bumps into Waller in the back and beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Because Waller was talking all kinds of smack. Remember when they took him off TV? I think he was hurt. But then they just pivoted to this thing with Waller and the New Day, and Waller was like talking all kinds of crap about him. So, no, I don't think people are going to forget, and I wouldn't ignore it. If he joins, it could just be a random segment even. But absolutely, I would have him, even if it's just a one and done quick thing, like he needs to do something to Grayson Waller, something brutal, where, he kind of gets his revenge for all that, puts him down, and then puts it in the rear view. I don't think people are going to forget, but I do think that if they play their cards right here and you got Heyman, with him, and he's surrounded by all these other guys, I think he'll do well. I think he'll do okay, but it's just, I'm still just flummoxed when I think back to the way they were pushing him. And you're right, Vince obviously had a thing for him because he's not going to work just with anybody on TV. I mean, he was doing stuff on TV with Austin Theory. Remember the egg stuff?
My egg, my egg.
My egg, my egg. Jesus Christ.
The golden fucking
You just
egg.
reminded me of the golden egg. Oh my God.
He comes out of the limousine and he's got the egg. He's holding it, and all the locker room is just huddled around the limousine, like,
Yeah,
look
all
at
the fucking
magnificent
losers,
egg.
all the fucking losers in the locker room were like, oh, look at the egg.
And then he brings in Austin Theory and Roman Reigns. Look at the egg, the magnificent egg on the table.
And there are people that want this man back in power in this company.
Oh my God, that's so bad. Yes, Austin Theory is the guy. Mike Johnson reported it maybe an hour after Survivor Series had ended. Randy Orton was never factored in. He was legit. It wouldn't have made sense if it's Orton, but if there was a guy that was a distant second place, it would have been his name in the discussion. But it is Austin Theory. Jason, how would these matches have looked if Rollins didn't get hurt? It would have been Rollins, Breakker, Reed, Theory, and I'm assuming Lesnar against the same team that we got here: Roman, Usos, Punk, and
LA Knight.
And then Cody would have wrestled McIntyre in part 3 of their match for the WWE title.
Either Cody against McIntyre, or maybe we would have even had Cody and McIntyre and maybe Fatu worked in there.
Yeah.
If Jacob didn't get hurt. But yeah, I think that's what we were looking at. We were looking at Cody and Drew 3. And then LA Knight ends up in War Games, because LA Knight also had beef for the last few months with the Vision. So that would have made sense.
Actually, would have been a better Survivor Series if it worked out the original way.
I think so.
It's crazy to think about, but they did this all-star game, this all-star men's match here, and the mystery man is Austin Theory. He helped Bron Breakker pin CM Punk. We were pretty spot on with our predictions. Jason predicted Liv Morgan. I said and went with, I think Punk needs to take the pinfall loss here. I know they're afraid of pinning anybody, especially their champions, and I think Breakker needs to be the one to do it. And I was actually surprised that they went with that. And that was the right ending, in my opinion, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it was what happened at the end of the show that left people kind of even more disappointed with the overall show, because they were expecting something big to happen. And we got nothing more than the camera focusing on all the baby faces who are all sad about losing. Reigns saw Punk and Cody on the mat. He actually helped Punk up from the mat. And he did not, and he actually fist bumped Punk as well and shook his hand. He did not help Cody up. So he helped Punk up, but not Cody.
Well, if you watch, it looks like he was kind of making a motion to go help Cody up, and Cody just got up on his own.
All right, well, however you want to look at it, but
that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, that was the whole story here. It was Roman and Cody. So it does say here. I'm just looking back at some of the notes here. The Reigns considered helping Rhodes, but Rhodes got to his feet on his own. Okay, they got in each other's faces. Reigns walked away without any handshake or any words of encouragement to Cody. He looked back at Cody and told him that this was the last time that they would team together. And that was it. So Punk began to leave, and the final shot was of Reigns looking back at Rhodes. And that was the way Survivor Series went off the air. Now, there was a rumor or some speculation from Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer, that the WrestleMania main event would become a little bit more clear at the end of Survivor Series War Games in the men's match. And then there was a report after that the WrestleMania main events, as of right now, written in very light pencil, are Cody and Roman 3 and Punk versus Bron Breakker. So this is where we are going to get into this discussion now, because I had a very spirited conversation with my chat last night, and I'm curious to see where Jason fits into this as well.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we'll get into this discussion here with these 2,800 crazy SOBs that are with us here.
Yes, thank you guys very much. This is a great audience on a Tuesday night, and I know you guys were interested in hearing us talk about all this stuff because it was a very newsworthy week. The 700 likes, I'd love to see another 300,000. Is that possible for you guys? I'd appreciate it. What we got last night, I'll start here. Bron Breakker cut the promo of his career, his very young career. I know some people were not, some people I know are not big Bron Breakker guys. That's fine. I don't really understand those people, but I am a big Bron Breakker advocate, as I'm sure Jason is as well. So Bron Breakker cut this promo, and it's all focused towards CM Punk. He made mention of the fact that Tim and Cody tried to break his neck in the War Games, and Bron Breakker is going to take everything away from CM Punk, including the World Championship and any memories that people may have of him, good or bad, and he's going to get revenge. So after the promo, we got a sense that Bron Breakker is certainly ready. A lot of people were like, he's not ready. He's not the future. I think WWE's forcing him. I'm looking at this, and I can't imagine people thinking that Bron Breakker's not ready after cutting that promo. Because that was the one last thing that he needed to really tie the fucking present together to complete the package. He cuts a promo in a way where it's just very realistic, and you believe every fucking word out of his mouth because he's a badass. It's not just the catchphrase. He's a fucking badass. Yeah.
No, it's like his uncle in that way. And honestly, it's that kind of intensity and that kind of promo that I was hoping to get after he excommunicated Seth Rollins from the group.
Yeah.
I said this. I mean, remember, he went face-to-face with Bronson Reed and said, you're either with me or you're not. And he said the same thing to Paul Heyman. And it was like, okay, that's the alpha male now that's going to lead this group. And then he sort of fell back in line, and I was a little disappointed. So we got to see that version of him last night, and it was a very good promo. It was, obviously he's a very intense guy. And then he dropped this little story about how I haven't forgotten about WrestleMania last year, where basically, Punk kind of big leagued him and said, congrats on all your success, but let's see you cut a promo with the big dogs now. And he's like, consider the promo cut.
La-dee-da.
La-dee-da. Yeah, that was kind of weird, but
it worked. It worked though. It was actually pretty funny.
Hey, when he says it with that type of intensity, I guess if I said it, it wouldn't come out the same way. So yeah, he just looked dead in the camera. He was talking to Punk, who obviously wasn't there, and he said that he's the badass Bron Breakker, and he's going to prove that he is the best in the world. I don't know if you noticed, he slams the microphone down on the mat so hard that it bounces up into the air, and Logan Paul actually caught it, and then Logan just talks into the mic and goes, damn.
Yeah, that was actually, I quite enjoyed that. I thought that was great.
And Logan Paul, by the way, and I wasn't sure about this, but Logan Paul evidently is now officially a full-time member of The Vision. And I don't have an issue with that. My only issue was that I didn't think he was going to be sticking around. I still don't know if he will or not. I don't want Logan Paul or anybody else, quite frankly, in The Vision if they're going to be part-time. Yeah, I feel like we have a lot of this part-time stuff with some of these guys. I'm not saying some of them haven't earned it. Maybe they have it written into their contract. That's great. But when you have a group like this, I, as a fan watching this, and we have Vision on the show every week, you got to be full-time. Like, you got to be there with them every single week. So if Logan is committed to being there every week, I have no problem with him being a part of the Vision. He was there with Paul Heyman, basically like advocating for him last night. I think that's great, but he needs to be there. So as long as he's there, I think he fits right into, what this group is supposed to be.
I agree with that, and I think he fits in the group perfectly, and I think he fits what the vision really is for WWE and what the makeup of this group is. So Bron Breakker cuts his promo. Whether you guys liked it or not is subjective. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The match is made January 5th, I guess 364 days to the day of the January 6th debut last January for Netflix and the debut of Raw. So Bron Breakker gets a World Championship match against CM Punk. That'll be the main event on January 5th's Raw. That is legitimately a month away. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at this, and the rumor is from Meltzer that it's going to be Breakker and Punk at WrestleMania. I'll get to Rhodes and Cody, Rhodes and Roman in a second. The fact of the matter is, Jason, that they booked this match on January 5th. I mentioned last night that I'm a big Punk fan. I'm a big Punk fan, and him winning the World Championship was great, but it wasn't the World Championship that I thought he would win in WWE. Feel like the World Championship came to him because his arch nemesis, Seth Rollins, was injured, and they had nobody better to give the championship to, so by default, he won a championship because there was nobody better, and he didn't win it because it was the championship he was chasing. It was just a prize at the end of the tunnel on Raw. It wasn't the reason for him being back in the WWE. We all know the WWE Championship was the prize that he always wanted. I don't like the fact that Punk is treated as a secondary champion next to Cody. I don't like that he's holding the secondary title. I think Punk is too good for that, and the way that he won it, he's beneath that. It's not fair creatively. So I'm looking at this on January 5th, and I'm thinking, you have to belt Bron Breakker. Like, I don't give a shit what you do. I don't give a shit what you got planned. A Bron Breakker CM Punk match on April 19th is just way too far away. Like, why would you wait 4 months to give us a match that we all know is going to be even more predictable by the time we get to Las Vegas? Belt him in January and start taking some risks, which would open up Punk to hopefully win the Chamber. And I know we both talked about it. Our preferred match is Cody versus Punk at WrestleMania. Now, the Masked Man wasn't revealed on Raw. They didn't really even make mention of it outside of, we think it's Seth Rollins, so go investigate what the locker room knows and what they're thinking. So what my determination is, they're probably going to wait till January 5th to reveal who the Masked Man is, and the Masked Man may help Bron Breakker win the championship. Again, I don't give a shit. Just belt Bron Breakker and give him the world title, because it should have been done at Saturday night's main event, but they ended up going with Punk. So I don't know how you feel about that. Is it the right time to belt him on January 5th?
So Seth Rollins did an interview last week, and he said that if all goes well, he might be able to get medically cleared and be back in the ring by April. So what that has me thinking is there's still a chance that they may end up doing CM Punk and Bron Breakker, whoever the champion is by then, doing that at WrestleMania. And if Rollins is ready, just adding him to the match and making it a triple threat. So that would be the only way that I could see it really making sense for Punk and Breakker to still be in the ring together come April, is if Rollins is back in time and you throw him into the mix, because obviously he hates Punk and he would be looking for revenge on Breakker, and then you end up with this triple threat scenario, which I'm not totally enamored with, because it's basically what they did this year, only you got Breakker in there instead of Roman. But anyway, so I could see that as a possibility. But if it's up to me, yes, I'm starting the new year with a bang, and I'm starting it by making a statement that, you know what, the future is now. Everyone's talking about Bron Breakker as being the future. He's going to headline 5 or 10 WrestleManias. The future is now. Put the championship on Bron Breakker. There's no reason to hold off on it. There's no reason to wait and delay it. Austin Theory gets involved, helps him win the championship, pulls the mask off. We get the big reveal. We have a brand new member of the Vision. We have a new champion. That's how you kick off 2026. And then you have a situation where Punk has to fight to get the belt back. I mean, again, the scenario I just laid out would still have him on Raw challenging for the world title. Cody and Punk, I would like to see Cody and Punk more so, I think, for what I think would be some great promo work leading up to the match. And then I think the match itself could be very good. I don't really have an appetite to see CM Punk as the WWE champion. Like, I mean, I don't know that I'm putting that belt on him, honestly. Like, when he came back to the company in 2023, I didn't really have an appetite. Like, oh, he's got to be the champion. Like, yeah, I mean, I could really go either way with it. We really should be building for the future, if we're being honest. So I'd like to see Cody and Punk. That doesn't mean I would want to put the belt on Punk. And there's other matches you could do with Cody, including Cody and Randy. Because I know Randy's not new, but there is a lot of history there. And shockingly, we still haven't gotten an actual program between those two, which to me is completely just asinine. But Bron Breakker should be the World Heavyweight Champion on January 5th. I would have put the title on him on Saturday night's main event. I've been ready.
Me too.
To just shake things up and take that title and put it on somebody new, put it on somebody younger, put it on somebody different, and let him lead the vision. Let him be the leader. Let him lead the way. So yes, I think that's what they should do. I don't know. I don't know for sure if they will. I mean, it could go either way, but I think you've got this mystery that they'll hold off on for another month, because at this point, if they didn't reveal it last night, there's no real rush for them to reveal it on some random episode next week.
No, I mean, it's going to be all Cena for the next 10 days.
It's going to be all Cena for the next 10 days, 2 weeks. And then after that, it's Christmas. And I don't even know what their audience is going to look like the last few weeks of the year.
Yeah.
At that point, you may as well wait until January 5th. Now, I mean, they didn't do it last night, so there's no rush. You may as well hold off another month and then do the reveal then. The reveal doesn't really go over as well, right? If they try to get involved and they don't successfully win the championship,
yes,
it would almost be like a failure then.
Yes.
So if that's their plan to wait until then to do the reveal, he almost has to win the title.
Yeah, it's amazing. I look at this now, and I seen that same interview with Rollins. You got your countdown on StreamYard. Just make sure you.
All right.
I look at this Rollins situation. It's amazing how you look at Rollins and his WrestleMania 40 inclusion. He basically saved WrestleMania. You know, he was Cody's shield, and he was definitely, in my opinion, the MVP of WrestleMania that year, because he was injured and then he went away for a little bit and then he came back. Now you're looking at Seth Rollins out for WrestleMania 42 going into Vegas, and with him out, it fucks up everything. You mentioned he wants to be back by April and hopefully get to WrestleMania. I don't know what month or what time frame he's looking at. I thought I heard late February, early March is what he's aiming for.
Yeah, so what he said is he's going to get the sling off this month.
Okay.
And then I think he said he's going to just eat what he wants and be stupid and go on vacation with his family until February. And in February, he didn't say early or late, but in February at some point is when the real training will begin. And then his hope would be that if that goes well, by April, he'll be cleared. Because I guess they gave him a 6-month time frame.
Yeah.
So that would be in line with 6 months. So that's like a very like best case conservative estimate as far as when he would be back. So it's possible. I don't see them holding out anybody else for him on the assumption that maybe he'll be okay. If there's already another match planned, you could still do, I guess you could still do Punk and Breakker, but like if Seth is not able to get cleared, it's like, okay, I guess we're just going to do this match again. But the idea would be, okay, we already have a match. He's cleared. Great. We'll just plug him in there. And now all three of these guys, right, have beef and have issues with each other. So that's what he's hoping for. Of course, it's Seth Rollins, so whatever he says, you sort of have to take it with a grain of salt. Maybe he'll be back a little sooner than that.
Maybe.
But yeah, so that's the idea for him, and it really did screw up their plans. I mean, supposedly they were going to do Roman and Seth. I don't know what that would have meant for Punk if that's the case. So now it just kind of threw things into a little bit of chaos. And now on the flip side of things, right, we've talked about Breakker and Punk.
Yeah, but before we get there, if Rollins is in Mania, yeah, Rollins and Breakker would make sense, because he should be the one to focus on who took him out. So
Rollins and Breakker and Punk.
If he's back, I mean,
because who else is going to be the World Heavyweight Champion then? I mean, so what you're saying is Breakker would be the champion defending against Rollins? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, honestly, I would rather Rollins miss WrestleMania, honestly. But if he's back,
I'm sure he disagrees with you on that.
I know, just as far as plans, because I again, selfishly, I want Punk and Cody, and then if Bron Breakker's the champion, I would like to see him defend against Roman.
Yeah, but dude, you're not going to get Punk and Cody. You're not getting Punk and Cody.
So maybe WrestleMania, if Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes is a potential for WrestleMania, then we do Roman and Punk, and then we do Breakker and Rollins. And that rounds out WrestleMania, the top 3 matches for WrestleMania.
Ideally, you could do that, but I think it's dangerous to rely on the fact that Seth Rollins is definitely going to be back in time for WrestleMania. What if he's not? What happens to Bron Breakker then? He's without a WrestleMania match? It's too dangerous.
Well, then
it's a lot easier to think about him being just...
Then you do Breakker winning the title, defend it against Roman, and then do Punk and Cody.
But they're not going to do that, though.
Who's going to win the Chamber in Chicago, bro? Really? Randy Orton?
Could be. I mean, Punk winning the Chamber, like in our minds, Punk winning the Chamber makes a lot of sense. But Punk's going to be on that show no matter what. So he doesn't have to win the Chamber. He could be defending the title on the show. He could be in a title match on that show. We're kind of debating what the Elimination Chamber main event is going to be, and that show is still months away. So it's kind of foolish. But again, I know what you're saying. Cody and Punk, it's a fresh match. And I think the promos would be great. And I think the match itself also could be great. But it doesn't look like it's in the cards.
No. And that's why I'm so heavily kind of leaning towards that and really pitching for that as a fan. Because the news that we got is Roman and Cody Part 3, which I have a major problem with because it's almost like you're making another movie when the second part of the movie had the most perfect finish that you could possibly ever produce, and you're going to go back on everything. Now, I don't have any interest in seeing it at WrestleMania. I never said that I would never want to see it. A match 3 could absolutely happen. But at WrestleMania, again, where they had a main event at 39, they had a main event at 40, not only on night 2, but they were in the night 1 main event.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. And here's the thing about that, right? Because I think we're in the same boat on this. And I think a lot of people agree, but there's also a lot of people that are like, you don't know what you're talking about. WWE, they know what the big matches are. They know what they're doing. $1 billion company, they'll defend them till their dying breath. I was a big fan of both of their WrestleMania matches. The 39 finish, not so much. But the actual WrestleMania 39 match was excellent.
Yes.
The WrestleMania 40 match, again, it was like their Avengers Endgame. Like it may have been the greatest WrestleMania main event that they've ever done, right? I mean, just what they put together there was very special. And they're not going to be able to, I don't think they're going to be able to top what they did in that match.
I'll tell you how they can.
Well, before you get to that. Now, you also made a very good point. They were actually in 2 WrestleMania main events that year. So technically, this would be the 4th one.
Yep.
In how many years? In
3 years.
4th one. Okay. that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And I don't give a shit how great those other matches were. I understand they want to do the trilogy, right? Cody won 1. Roman won 1. So now we have to have the rubber match. At some point, I'm sure we'll get it, and I'm sure it'll be a very good match. But this goes to a bigger problem. We just talked about it with the War Game stuff, where everything feels like it's all the same and nothing ever really changes. And I know they're starting to kind of maybe make some changes as far as like getting Bron Breakker over to that next level, and I hope that works. But it just feels like it's the same guys in that top mix every year, over and over again. And we've gotten it twice, technically 3 times in the last few years. This is too much. It's overkill that we're going into another WrestleMania and we're talking about the same 2 guys in the main event of WrestleMania. When you have other potential matches for both of them, that would be far more interesting.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns and Bron Breakker, right? Doesn't look like they're going to do that, but that would be a fresh match that we haven't seen, right? I assume that they did Roman and Bronson Reed. They avoided doing Roman and Bron Breakker with the idea that they would come around to it at a show like WrestleMania because it would be a bigger match. You could do that match. You mentioned Cody and Punk, Cody and Randy Orton and the history that's there. Jacob Fatu is another one who I think they're going to want to elevate in 2026 because I think that they have like a nucleus of guys. And I've said that it's really 4 or 5 guys. And Jacob is part of that. I think Bron Breakker is like their crown jewel, it feels like. And then you have certain other people like an Obafemi and people like that. But I think that Jacob, come WrestleMania time, who's to say he's not in a position to be in a real top match of WrestleMania? We don't know, by the way. We have 2 mystery man angles going on at the same time right now.
Yeah.
Because we still haven't found out who attacked Jacob Fatu.
And apparently he's supposed to be back very soon, this month, actually.
I floated the idea that, wouldn't it be crazy if it was Cody? And that would kind of go into a Cody heel turn that wouldn't really happen until maybe early next year. That's probably, pie in the sky, wild conspiracy theory stuff. But like, there's so many other possibilities and directions that you could go in that we haven't already seen. Why do we have to keep going back to the same shit over and over and over again?
It's all they know, bro. It's all they know. They feel, again, I'm going to put my tinfoil cap on. They are so desperately trying to chase what was so hot when he first took the reins of creative. He basically took a lot of what Vince had and he just kind of molded it into his own. He's desperately trying to go back to what worked, and he wants to recreate that now going into 42. Because now they're going to be without Cena, so they're going to need to go back and do what they were doing, and that's telling stories, and they feel like telling the Reigns and Cody story again is what people were really into, and they're going to try and do it again, and all I feel like they're going to do is ruin the magic that was WrestleMania 40. The only way that this works is if Cody goes heel. The only way that this works, because Cody mentioned it not too long ago, we haven't seen the last of the final boss. The only way that this works, and you can call me crazy for even mentioning it. The only way this works is if Cody sells his soul and Roman is the one that needs to fight against The Rock, who has now his corporate champion, which leads to Rock and Roman in Saudi because you know exactly what they want. That is the only way it works here.
There was already a report when the news came out about WrestleMania going to Saudi in 2027 that they were in discussions about trying to get Dwayne Johnson on that show. So I don't doubt that they would love to get Rock in the ring on that show. And if Rock was ever going to give a commitment a year in advance, it would probably be for that show. So I hate that we're talking about this because I think there's a very real possibility that that could happen. It also kind of sickens me that we're talking about the idea of going back to this Rock and soul nonsense because that worked out so well this year. But could I see it? Sure, I could see it. Part of my issue with Roman is as a character, he hasn't changed. He hasn't evolved at all.
Well, he hasn't changed, but he's also operating as a babyface now. We don't really need to put him as the champion. He wrestles 6 or 7 days a year.
Why is he a babyface? What makes him a babyface? He's operating as a babyface?
But he is a babyface, but he's operating as a heel.
I know, but it's kind of crazy to me that he is a babyface because he hasn't changed. He's still kind of a dick to his family.
He's literally done nothing to really change anything at all.
No.
The fans missed him, and that's why they cheer him.
And also, he's coming off 1,300 something days as champion. It's a run that I can't say it won't ever be matched, but if it is, it won't be for many years, and it won't be by Roman. So you're never going to get a title run like the one that he had. Him fighting for championships in the main event of WrestleMania, I'm sorry, that does nothing for me.
No.
But he had the run of all runs and paid it off, by the way, with that 40 finale in Philly in the biggest and best way possible. That's just you're never going to top that, not with this guy, right? Because he was the champion and he lost it in the most dramatic way. And just to go back to, okay, Roman's going to be fighting Cody again for the championship. I'm sorry. Like it doesn't do anything for me. Triple H made a comment at the post show after Survivor Series. And he said that he kind of looks at Roman the way that he looked at Undertaker, where he's a guy that doesn't need the championship. Like he's bigger than the championship. And Undertaker became the attraction where it became more of like, okay, who's wrestling him at WrestleMania? But he didn't need the title. Well, if that's the case, and he honestly believes that, then I don't know why they're so hell-bent on Roman being in the championship picture at WrestleMania. He doesn't have to be.
Unless it's just there for them to compete over, and it's not really about the championship, and it's about family. Because if you go back and look at why everything happened the way that it did, Rock wanted Roman. So they gave them that. Fans revolted. We got Cody instead. Rock weaseled himself into the final boss. It was always about getting Roman over as the guy in the family. So it would have worked out in a piss poor way if it went the way The Rock wanted it. But out of everything that happened that was bad, we got the final boss. And it's always been about getting Roman over as the guy, the tribal chief, the fucking high chief of the family. So how was Rock going to do that? By coming back as the final boss and having Roman beat him in Saudi. And that's the Rock's final match. And Roman can ascend to the highest chief. It's always been about getting Roman over as the top guy in the family. So if it didn't happen then, it certainly needs to happen now.
Okay, so because of that, because we have to go with the family story again and push that forward, we're just going to sacrifice another championship match at WrestleMania next year.
If the story is there for it and Cody goes heel, I would accept it. Yeah.
Well, if Cody goes heel, that's a different story. But what you're talking about is Cody going heel because of The Rock. So
selling a soul, yeah.
Yes, Rock, I will be your champion. So basically what they tease that we might get this year, you're going to give it to him next year.
Yeah.
My issue is with Cody needing The Rock in order to go heel. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I don't know that we need to go back to this soul nonsense. I think there are other ways or other reasons for Cody to go heel. But sure, yeah, they could do that if they want to. I'm just, again, the issue with Roman, it's not needed. I understand he's one of their biggest stars. The fans love him. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be somewhere in the mix. I'm just saying this idea of going back to Roman and Cody, over how many years are we going to tell this story? My God. I mean, I understand the storytelling aspect, but there does come a point where it just gets boring. And it's like, can we please get something a little new and fresh here in this main event picture at WrestleMania? Like, is that too much to ask?
They sadly don't know any better.
How are we ever going to elevate some of these other people if it's the same fucking faces every year in the same spot?
I don't know. It's WrestleMania. They don't care about building the future. They just want the marquee matches, and Triple H is all about fucking moments.
That's it.
And
it's
big
Vegas,
matches. That's it.
They're going to make a shitload of money next year, and they got to sell tickets, and so they want the OTC, I guess, challenging for the championship. But my God, I mean,
he's going all in. He's doubling down on Vegas. So he's tripling down with this fucking.
Oh my
match.
God, I see what you did there.
Yeah. So
great. Okay, are you excited?
No, I'm not. Okay. Is it going to get me? Is it going to get me to go out to Vegas and fucking wave the white flag for WWE? No, it's not. I'm not excited to attend the show that's already been done with this main event three times before in the last 4 years. Like, why? Who gives a shit?
But it was never done in Vegas before. So
no.
Now it can be done in Vegas.
Yes. So that's the discussion. It only works, in my opinion, if Cody goes heel. Do I think they do that? No. Like Jason said, it's pie in the sky, fucking nonsensical stuff, but that's the only way it's going to work. And I don't know how WrestleMania is shaping up. It's way too early to tell. Let's take it one step at a time with Breakker winning the World Championship on January 5th. And then we kind of go into Saturday night's main events because that's happening before the Rumble. And then we get the Rumble in Saudi at the end of the January. So that's the latest there. A couple other things that happened on Raw quickly. Solo and Gunther. That was the semifinal here for the Last Time Is Now tournament. LA Knight beat Jey Uso. Gunther beat Solo. Best match of Solo's career. They had a really great heel versus heel match where we thought that with the injury to Penta, this is not really what we want. We wanted something else. But never doubt Gunther. He never has bad matches. And Solo showed up to work last night. And
they actually had people
I feel like
at one point chanting Solo's name.
Yeah. You felt that, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of, I was like, oh, they're talking about him.
Yeah.
I thought they were talking about me. Look, it's hard. Heel versus heel is not an easy thing to do. And they managed to find a way to pull it off. I mean, you have two guys who were bigger. I mean, Solo's not a small guy. And so they went in there and they were basically beating the hell out of each other. And a lot of chops. And the fans were really getting into it. You had Tala Tonga out there in Solo's corner, and Gunther kind of took care of him. And then it came down to you have two heels. Like, who's going to be able to cheat the most effectively? Gunther is not one that you usually see cheating and using low blows and underhanded tactics in his matches. In this match, he's like, you know what? I see what this guy's willing to do. So, like, fuck you. The referee, he was looking the other way. He kicked him in the dick, and he powerbombed him, and he pinned him. And the fans loved it. The fans loved the finish. They loved the match that they got. It definitely exceeded the expectations that I had for it. And now we can say that every single match that Gunther has had in this tournament has been one of the best matches in this tournament.
Yes. So which
by default.
which I don't understand why people think he's overrated and he's pushed down our throats and he's not a good wrestler.
Well, look, some people, him not being a good wrestler is just a ridiculously stupid thing for someone to say, and I can't take your opinion seriously. If your opinion is that you think he's boring, I think that's perfectly fine. You're entitled to have that opinion. Gunther, I think, he's an acquired taste because he just works a very particular style that's not terribly flashy. And so not everybody is going to be a fan of it. But to say, oh, the guy doesn't know how to wrestle and he sucks, like, I can't take you seriously. So I don't really pay any attention to that. He has been the best thing about this entire tournament. And maybe that's low praise because this tournament has not exactly been lighting the world on fire. But that match exceeded my expectations. Jey Uso and LA Knight was pretty much in line with my expectations. I was very happy that LA Knight got the win. But really, let's be honest, what were they fighting for? They were fighting for the right to find out who was going to lose to Gunther on Friday on SmackDown. So now we already know who was wrestling John Cena in his final match.
Sorry,
right?
sorry, LA Knight fans. We're sorry to disappoint.
Yes, I'm sorry, LA Knight fans. I know that you're in for some more pain before this year is over.
maybe he'll get an elimination in the Rumble like he didn't do last year.
Well, he'll probably get his match with Chris Jericho if Jericho comes in, which I'm actually not as sure about that now as I was a week ago. But that brings us just real quick, because I talked about this on my end. You know, we have Saturday night's main event is coming up very soon, and we're going to get John Cena against Gunther. And I feel like my answer definitely would have been different a few months ago. I'm coming around to the idea that I think John Cena should win that match.
Really?
I do. I think John Cena, I think it would probably be best for John Cena to get a big win on his way out. It's probably something that John Cena himself wouldn't even want. But again, like Sting didn't want to lose his last match from what we heard, and Tony Khan put his foot down and said, no, it's the right thing to do. I think it would just be a real bummer for the fans at this point, especially coming off a loss, like losing the way he did at Survivor Series and getting screwed by the whole Judgment Day. If he just goes in there and loses again in his last match, this big match with all this pomp and circumstance, you know, Washington, D.C., packed house, everybody's there to see him. And he goes in there and, you know, he gets put to sleep, you know, by Gunther. I just think it would be a real buzzkill. And I think coming off of a retirement run that has not really been all that great, I almost think that you just sometimes have to put aside what maybe is like the best move for business, right? Because Gunther's staying and John Cena isn't, and do what's right for the story and for the show and for the fans on that night, which would be for John Cena to get this big triumphant win in a competitive match and, you know, slay the bigger opponent and go out with a win after this very mixed bag of a run that he has been on this year.
I'm inclined to agree with you there. I think, well, first of all, if Cena wants what he wants, then he's going to get what he wants. If he wants to lose, he's going to lose. If he wants to win, I think he should win. I think you're correct. I think the fans should get what they paid for, and I think Cena should win. Yeah, I just find it difficult to believe because we all know Triple H loves Gunther, and it's about the future, and this whole night's about the future. It's going to be mixed with the main roster stars and NXT stars, so it would go against what John Cena set this night up to be. Gunther, he's not. I mean, he's young, but he's not like fucking like Bron Breakker young.
No, and he's largely protected.
Yeah.
So I mean, whether he wins or loses,
and he doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't need it. He'll be fine whether he wins or loses coming out of this show. And Triple H will beat him sometimes when the situation calls for it. I mean, he tapped out to Jey Uso at WrestleMania, and he lost to CM Punk at SummerSlam. And so if he lost to John Cena, you know, in DC, it's not the end of the world. Now, if they want to do Gunther and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania next year, then I could see that being a battle between the two guys that, you know, beat John Cena on his retirement tour. So maybe it goes against, you know, whatever the story is that they want to tell there. But I just feel like, again, there's been so many moments that have been so deflating. And I feel like so much wasted time, you know, with that heel turn. And things just didn't go the way I think that most people would have hoped that this run would have gone. There have been some great stuff, especially in the latter part. You know, they tried to salvage it there with some of the matches he had as a babyface. But sometimes you just got to give the people what they want and not deflate everybody. And I just feel like for him to go in there and lose again that's not what the people want to see. And yeah, maybe John Cena doesn't want to go out that way, but Triple H needs to, talk to him and say, well, here's where my head is at on this, because they're giving John Cena what he wants. I mean, it was Cena's idea to have all these, main roster versus NXT matches. So that's going to be populating a lot of the card. But I just think that moment, it's for the fans. It's not just for Cena, it's for the fans. And if the fans want to see him go out, on top and not on his back, then you know what? Give the fans what they want.
Yeah.
Let them go out happy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Those are the two matches on Raw last night for the semifinals. So we got Gunther and LA Knight on Friday, and then the winner of the tournament will address the crowd on Monday on the next Raw.
We got 3,000 in here. Look at this.
Yeah, look at that. Liv Morgan, her promo. Were you okay with what the promo was last night? Were you disappointed that they didn't dive into some of the tensions that were being said or noted when she was off TV? Balor kind of replacing her with Roxanne Perez and kind of glossing over the fact that Liv is not there. She won't know. She's home recuperating. The tensions between Finn and Dom weren't addressed. Did you care at all, or are you okay with the fact that they're still taking what is now a 2-year storyline here with all this, and they're still kind of slow burning it to when they feel is necessary next year?
Well, before I answer that, I just got to say, Brent in the chat said Travis Scott should cost Gunther the match on Saturday night's main event. That would be quite the full circle moment if Travis Scott were to get involved in that match.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I think we could do without that. I was underwhelmed by the promo itself, but I kind of get it because the story they're telling right now, Liv just came back. Like, she literally just came back. So now we're in this happy phase of the Judgment Day, where they're one big happy family and everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows their role. Liv basically, it was her promo where she took the reins of the group and said, things have not been great for the Judgment Day over the last few months, but now things are going to be different. So they don't want to jump right into any kind of tension. Because I was watching Balor's face and I was watching Roxanne, and it wasn't like they were making faces when she was talking or, Balor looked upset or anything like that. So they just want to put that off for a little bit and take their time telling that story, because we all know what's going to end up happening. I mean, we all know that something's going to go wrong and there's going to be drama between Liv and Balor or Liv and Roxanne. So it's coming. I don't really have an issue with them, taking their time telling that. It's going to make for more interesting television when that time comes. I didn't come away from those segments last night thinking, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next. It was just very straightforward. Nothing really to it. I don't know if you saw Balor's face after Liv smacked Dom and then jumped up in his arms.
No, I was fixated more on Roxanne.
His eyes looked like they were like about to bug out of their head. He was shocked by what he was seeing. So no, I understand where they're going with it. So it didn't bother me too much.
Yeah, I think her being back is going to add a nice story element to the show. So very happy to have her back. I know Roxanne wants a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. So who's to say that Liv and Roxanne don't battle eventually over that? I know they just teased Liv and Stephanie. Who knows where they're going? But I think before long, I think Dominic and Liv are going to be booted out of the Judgment Day, and it's going to end up revolving around Finn, Roxanne, Dominic, and Liv maybe doing something at WrestleMania. The Tag Team Championships, which right now are a centralized focus on Raw, being that Asuka and Kairi are holding them. What did you make of the last segment? Why now all of a sudden a focus on the women's tag team division and a focus on the women's tag team championship? Because not only do we got Rhea Io, we got Charlotte Alexa, we got Bayley and Lyra, we have the Kabuki Warriors, we got Lash Legend and Nia Jax, we have
Secret
Hervis. I mean,
and NXT. Look, you got to include NXT in that because these titles are defended cross brands. Yeah. So you have Fatal Influence and you have Sol Ruka and Zarya. So all of a sudden we're in a position where we actually have a pretty robust looking division. Now again, Rhea and Io and some of these people are really singles wrestlers, but their tag team division all of a sudden on the women's side is a hell of a lot stronger than the men's. I mean,
yeah. Well, on Raw anyway, yeah.
Well, anywhere. I mean, I know they have more teams on SmackDown, but they're not exactly, lighting the world on fire right now. So what I came away with is, wow, okay, we actually have a real division here. So this could get this could get interesting, but it comes at a time when I would rather they be building up credible challengers for their women's world champions. It's a little backwards to me.
It does take away a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it's a little backwards to me that they seem to be putting more focus on the women's tag belts than either of their two women's world belts. Don't you think that's weird?
And the United States title. Don't forget about that one.
That's a little counterproductive. So that's the only thing that kind of bothers me about it. But it looks as strong as they've ever looked as far as the women's tag division.
But why now though? Is there like a narrative behind it? Are they looking at what AEW is doing about to crown new tag team champions over there? Is that a thing?
I can't come up with any other reason, and I'm not really big on conspiracy theories or anything, but I think that could have something to do with it. I mean, AEW still hasn't crowned their first women's tag champs yet. We're in the middle of this tournament, so it's actively going on, and I think that could have a little something to do with it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought about that last night too. So that was the way Monday Night Raw ended. Roxanne and Raquel held up the titles after taking out the field of baby faces there. Roxanne went to go hand the tag team title to Liv because that was Raquel's original tag team partner, and then Liv handed it right back to Roxanne. So all is chummy in the Judgment Day, as Liv might have grander things on the mind. Yeah, for now. So we'll see what happens with that, but very much looking forward to Liv being back on television and seeing what happens there. But that was Monday Night Raw. We got some other minor news and notes here from WWE before you get into your breakdown of the Continental Classic, and then we'll get into your Super Chats. The report today from PW Insider, or yesterday rather, WWE Library programming reportedly leaving Peacock this month. It's coming from Mike Johnson and PW Insider. That's an update on their website on WWE programming from its library on NBC Universal's Peacock service. According to the report, it was discovered that WCW content is listed as leaving the streaming service on December 31.
Wasn't really discovered. I mean, I discovered it. I discovered it before he did. So I'll just tell you what I discovered.
No, Jason got no credit, so they just ran with the report.
I got no credit. You know what I did? I got my sources. You want to know what my sources are? I went on fucking Peacock, and when you go under the WWE and WCW and ECW library content, there's a little bit of text next to the episode that said 29 days left. And today it says 28 days left, which means that all that content is leaving Peacock at the end of this month. And it's not the only content that's leaving because there's other classic content as well. But originally, the belief, what was reported, is that when the ESPN deal wasn't supposed to really kick in until WrestleMania. So we're looking at March or April of next year. So I believe the classic content was supposed to remain on Peacock until then. So this is earlier than expected. And it's not like they've announced anything. I went on there and I saw it. And I tweeted about it. And based on the response to that tweet, there's a lot of people who had no idea that this content was leaving at the end of this month. And there's a lot of people who are very upset about that. So that part of it really, really sucks because clearly WWE does not really give a whole lot of, they don't really prioritize the classic content because the audience for it is not that big. I mean, that's just
it's there if you want it.
It's there if you want it. The sad reality is that for all the wrestling fans that are out there who care about that, there's just not enough of us. So they don't prioritize it. It's not that big of a deal to them. Now, we still have no clarity on where this stuff is going. I don't know if you are ever on Netflix checking out old episodes of Raw. They have the Raw Vault on there.
Never.
Okay, well, see, you're part of the problem. But they have the Raw Vault on Netflix. They added it, I think, at the beginning of the year. If you go on there, it is so inconsistent and spotty. They still have not uploaded, like there's years of Raw that still are not on there. And I fear that that's what we're looking at going forward. Like, I don't know if some of this content may end up on Netflix. ESPN said a few months ago, oh, sure, if it becomes available, we would have an interest in having a conversation about it. And that's all we know. There's been no reports. There's been no rumors about, well, they're in conversations with Amazon or ESPN. So before people start asking, we don't know where it's going. We just know it's leaving. And so there's going to be a period of time where you're not going to have access to that unless you have the physical media. And I know some people held on to their physical media and a lot of people don't have it. That's going to be one of the only ways to get it unless, you have a VPN, and internationally, I think a lot of that stuff is still going to be on Netflix. So that may be one way to continue to watch
Well,
it. But
Netflix is too busy putting together an all-cash deal to buy Warner Bros. Discovery. That's why.
yeah, well, they're very busy with all this other stuff that doesn't include watching old episodes of fucking primetime wrestling. But unfortunately, yeah, you're going to lose access to a lot of that stuff. So this is our public service announcement to you. If you care about that sort of thing, you better go ahead and just binge as much of it as you can, because we have no idea where it's going. And even if it lands somewhere, we don't know how much of that content is actually going to migrate over. Yeah. We didn't know how good we had it, I think, at the time with the network. The network was
Fucking
phenomenal.
great. Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal. When they went from the network to Peacock, we lost a lot of stuff. Not everything migrated over. And I think it's going to be the same thing after Peacock. Wherever it goes, this shit takes time. And it's not like they push a button and boom, their whole vault is there. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of stuff that we lose. Now, I love the vault on YouTube. Like I'm on there every day. And they're posting full shows sometimes, full pay-per-views. They just posted the full... Actually, it's not full, but they just posted that. Remember that Tuesday in Texas pay-per-view?
Yeah.
So they just, I like it because they put up the Survivor Series in '91, and this show came like a week later or 10 days later. So they kind of went in order, and they just posted the whole show, the full show, all 90 minutes, up on the Vault channel on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, let me browse through this. So I'm watching it, and they completely edited out. There's a part of that show where there was an angle with Jake Roberts, Randy Savage, and Miss Elizabeth, and Jake puts his hands on Elizabeth, and especially for that time, dude, that was a big deal.
Yep,
that was a heavy angle, especially that was still like the cartoonish era of WWF, and so that's what that show was most known for. They cut that whole thing out, like the match is on there, and then the post match stuff starts. And then where he grabs her and then, slaps her and she goes down, that whole thing is edited out. But they kept the interviews in there where, like, after the fact, they're talking about how could you do that? How could you slap her? And it's like, if you've never seen the show before, you have no idea what they're talking about because you just cut that whole part out of the show. So it's just...
Why do they edit something like that out when there's just small... maybe... But
it's got to be because it's on Peacock and it's on Netflix. I checked. It's not edited out of there. It's only on YouTube.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Only on YouTube. That whole part is cut out.
That must be a YouTube thing because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Because who's going to give a shit about what happened in 1991? Like you're going to complain and cancel WWE for 1991? Come on,
dude. The way that the algorithm works on here, who knows? Can you imagine like the Vault channel gets zapped by YouTube and because of one little moment in a video? I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing because it doesn't make any sense to me why they would do that. So the point is, like, if you don't have the physical media, even the stuff that ends up on ESPN or Netflix, like, you're not going to get the whole thing. No. You're really not. So you probably should hold on to whatever you have. Or digitize it. That's going to be your best bet. But, it's just, unfortunately, it's not a priority for them. So it sucks. I wouldn't be shocked if the Vault on YouTube eventually goes to a pay model.
I'd listen. Anything for TKO to make their money back. I would not be surprised by that at all. But other fans have claimed that ECW branded content is listed as expiring soon. Other WWE library shows on Peacock include Championship Wrestling from Florida, Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, World Class Championship Wrestling, Mid-South, Smoky Mountain. Original WWE programs like documentaries and produced by WWE Studios are also available on the platform. So, like Jason said, we don't know where they're going to end up. They'll probably land on another platform or another streaming service, which takes another potential home for AEW off the table. That's exactly what their model has been the last 12 to 18 months, is just kind of diversify and just kind of branch out to every streaming service possible to kind of stifle AEW in a way. But again, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried that, depending on where they land, not that they're going to shut the Vault channel down, but there was a comment, I don't know if it was Mark Shapiro or... There was some article about the channel itself a few months ago on some website, and somebody who runs the channel for WWE made a comment. It was something to the effect of, like, some of this content is just on there temporarily. So my fear is that when they do land somewhere, I worry that some of the content that they're putting up, maybe it's the full shows, are going to actually be taken down. So that would suck.
What did he say? Well, I'm trying to find out who said that.
It was. I want to say because there was a specific article on one of these tech websites. And it was very fascinating. It was the team behind the Vault channel, and they interviewed these people, and there were some quotes. And I remember reading that, going, "Ooh, that doesn't sound good."
Yeah, I can't find it right now. I'm not surprised that they said something along those lines. But
yeah,
the WWE Network, outside of WrestleMania and The Undertaker, I would say is Vince McMahon's greatest creation is the WWE Network.
Yeah, it really was, and it was a hell of a lot better organized and easier to search than it is on Peacock.
Yeah,
like everything about it was just better.
Well, wasn't that the reason? Because the same people that ran the MLB Network were running the WWE Network.
I believe so.
Yeah,
and it was $9.99. You get everything. Now everything is so scattered. Like Saturday night's main event is no longer on NBC. If you want to watch it, you need Peacock.
Yeah.
At least in this country. I don't know if maybe internationally it might be Netflix.
I think it's Netflix, yeah.
But you need Peacock. So everyone who's like, "Oh my God, they're getting rid of the classic stuff. I'm going to dump Peacock." Okay, you can do that if you don't care about the NXT stuff, but you'll lose access to some other things like Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, so that was in the news. We'll keep you guys posted on that. I know a lot of you guys like that type of thing, and I, on a Thursday night, just randomly searching YouTube, I always land on the Vault before I go to sleep. I watch something. So we'll see what happens there. Chris Jericho was in the news this week, and apparently Chris Jericho is rumored to be heading to the WWE, and WWE has already offered Jericho a retirement storyline. How that's possible, if he's still contracted to AEW, you figure that out. I don't know how that's even possible, but apparently, according to Meltzer, he noted that while nothing is confirmed, all hints are currently pointing toward a WWE direction for Jericho. The offer of a retirement storyline from the company suggests a long-term plan is in place should he return. And Meltzer says with Jericho, he says that he hoped Jericho would be back, but didn't say it would happen, as Tony Khan did. As noted many times, this one is a Jericho decision, and all hints that he is landing in WWE. I know that WWE has offered him a retirement storyline, and those in WWE said that is what they are interested in. Others expect him to be there early next year, but nothing is confirmed. Now, Jericho did come out just recently saying that he will be somewhere in 2026, and he still has a desire to wrestle. He looks great.
What a great update.
Yeah.
My update is that I will be somewhere in 2026.
Yeah. Listen, Jericho, does he have a lot to give a WWE? Yes, but in a very minimal role. Does Jericho want to come in with the just retirement thing hanging over his head, or does he want to get situated there first and then maybe think about, like, they're already putting him in the fucking in the retirement bin already before he steps in the door? Like,
this whole company is becoming a retirement village. Are you kidding me? John Cena, AJ Styles, Chris Jericho.
Who would want that? Like, before you even get there, like, we're looking for you to retire. Like, can I have some fun first before I think about doing that?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, and again, if we take this report at face value, I read that as not that there's a long-term plan. Like, you'll come in and then a year or two from now, we'll talk about it. Like, it makes it sound like, yeah, okay, if you want to come back, we have a retirement story for you, right? And then we'll put you in the Hall of Fame, and then you can kind of ride off into the sunset. Jericho doesn't sound to me like he's ready to retire yet. So if that's the case, and all they're interested in is a retirement story, then I think there's actually a chance he ends up staying with AEW, because I think he wants more than that. That's really, to me, what it boils down to. Like, if that's literally all they want him for, and he's not ready to hang it up. This guy's posting selfies, shirtless, on social media. Like, he's not ready to hang it up yet. If WWE doesn't have any other plans for him, then he may well stay with Tony Khan for another year, 2 years.
Well, listen, if he wants to retire, Tony Khan has done one thing right, and one thing better than a lot of the other things that he's done, and that's treat his legends the right way and send them off in the way that they need to.
He gave Sting the best retirement that anybody could ask for.
So if Jericho wants that, he's in good hands with Tony Khan. Other than that, WWE seems to already be disrespecting him before he even walks in the door.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never got the sense that Triple H was a big Chris Jericho fan.
No, he sees dollar signs and money, and that's it. Goodbye.
Yeah, they I don't know. Maybe they're on better terms these days, but they always struck me as not exactly exchanging Christmas cards. But yeah, I think that Jericho. The problem is that Jericho's most of his career was in WWE. So if he was getting a proper retirement, you would want access to that footage, and you would want montages and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it if it happens in AEW. Like they wouldn't even, dude. They would not even. And I don't know if Tony Khan ever asked, so maybe he never even asked the question. But like you couldn't even get Sting footage from WWE. Like Lex Luger couldn't even get Sting to induct him into the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Like, so if he's not in the company, you're not getting access to that stuff. And that kind of makes it shitty when you spend so many years working there and your career is winding down and you want to maybe put together a nice video package, like a retrospective. And at least he worked there for 6 years. I mean, he's got plenty of AEW footage, but to not have access to most of his career, I mean, really, WWE owns all of it because they have the WCW library. They have Smoky Mountain. They have ECW. This is the problem, by the way, when one company owns all of these fucking tape libraries.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but it also goes to show you how WWE is. It's the place. They want to make it the place to be when this time comes, and that's exactly what they've done. Where are you going to go if you're a pro wrestler if you want to retire? You could take the easy way out and take the money in Tony Khan, or you could go back to WWE and celebrate the way you want with your career and your a retrospective on your career.
It may not be the way you want. I mean, have you watched this John Cena run? I mean,
no, it's not the way John Cena wants it.
Yeah. Let's be careful with what we say here.
I expect him in the Rumble. I expect him in a match against LA Knight at WrestleMania. I know those things have been said on this show quite a bit, but I'm sticking to that. TNA. They finally announced that they are with AMC, an agreement to bring TNA's flagship show to AMC Thursday night. So you AEW sickos don't have any competition on Wednesday. You can breathe a sigh of relief there. So 2-hour Thursday Night Impact, as it's being rebranded, will kick off on January 15th, 2026 in Dallas, and will become a weekly event on AMC and AMC Plus for subscribers on their streaming platform. No news on if it will be I'm assuming that first show will be live. We don't know if it's going to be live every week, but Carlos Silva said that 52 weeks out of the year, they will be having content on AMC. So, go ahead.
It's live the first week. It might be live the first 2 weeks, but it's live the first week. I want to say it's live the second week, and then I think there's a taping the next day. So we don't have confirmation on exactly what the schedule is yet, but it sounds to me like they'll be live at least once a month.
Yeah.
And then there may be some taped, and then they're live again. So
like the old school Raw days where it's like we'll tape 1 week and then live the next.
Yeah, usually they were live after like a pay-per-view, and then they would tape TV for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
This might be a little bit better than that. So it's not sounding like live 52 weeks a year, which is fine. I mean, if they're live even sometimes. And the big thing also is they're moving slightly. They're moving back from 8 to 10 instead of 8 to 10. They're going to be 9 to 11.
Okay.
So that's the other change.
All right. There was a rumor going around that WWE's partnership, NXT partnership with TNA, was also going to be axed with this new deal. Not true at all. Carlos Silva was on Busted Open saying that partnership will continue well into 2026. So whoever made that up, I'm assuming it's one of them fake Facebook accounts. You could ignore that. That is going to continue. So he did give a press release saying that they are super excited to bring the in-ring excitement and drama of TNA wrestling to AMC. And then he goes on to tout their growth and success driven by stories and characters and nonstop action. And Thursday Night Impact is going to be starting on January 15th. So the home of The Walking Dead now has given TNA a home. So there you go.
The home of The Walking Dead, and it sounds to me like if I were a betting man, I can pick the date that Mike Santana should be winning back that TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
January 15th?
January 15th, yes.
And we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that was in the news today, and Sports Illustrated and John Alba originally had that. They were all over that literally a month ago, and the news broke. Actually, via a tweet. Last night, and then we got the official word this morning. Andrade, he was in the news, and he actually opened up about his non-compete in WWE, describing it as a very long story. He goes on to say, as he was reported by Azteca Deportivo, I was in a company called AEW, and at the time I was happy, but I was married. My wife was Charlotte Flair. She works in WWE, so the idea was to return to WWE to be with her, and many things happened later. I was a little upset, and we got divorced. He then clarified that the separation ended in the best way. He then mentioned his brief return to AEW Dynamite in Hollywood, Florida. He implied that WWE was not pleased. I imagine they didn't like it, he said, before adding that he is very grateful to WWE. So the conversation quickly shifted to the current situation, preventing Andrade from stepping back into the ring, a binding legal clause. He indicated that there was no non-compete activated until he showed up on AEW Dynamite. He confirmed that he is currently involved in the legal process to expedite his return to competition. Andrade stated that his original lawyer was also the lawyer for his then-wife, Charlotte Flair. He then confirmed that the clause is the subject of his current legal battle. They left you without being able to compete, and that is the clause you are fighting today to be able to return to the ring as soon as possible, the interview stated, which Andrade confirmed. Andrade explained the legal process can be long, and the biggest difficulty is the financial cost involved. They're trying to negotiate so as to not go to court with that and have reached a good agreement, and the lawyers are doing things a little better. He added that he has a good response, and I think soon, more or less, I think I have a date, and the lawyer too. I have many companies. I have several proposals right now. I cannot sign them because of the clause. He goes on to say it's difficult to answer about wrestling in the United States. Andrade argued that it lacks global recognition, wrestling specifically just in Mexico. It's a difficult question to answer since the American companies, both AEW and WWE, are companies that have talent in Mexico, but they also travel to Saudi Arabia, Australia, and the United Kingdom. He noted that places like India, Africa, Japan, Thailand, and Hong Kong, many do not know about Mexican wrestling. So when asked to compare the quality of wrestling talent between the two countries, Andrade gave a very diplomatic response. He reflected on his own career path, having first achieved star status in Mexico. He says, first I was here in Mexico. I managed to be a star at a national level, at a local in my hometown, and then on a national level. And he goes on to describe the differences between the two. He didn't really give any answers outside of that. He is basically working through this, and he's going to soon hopefully come to a resolution here. But
well, I think the biggest takeaway, if that translation is correct and we take him at his word, is there was a non-compete that it sounds like he wasn't aware of, and it only kicked in when WWE saw him show up on AEW television. Only then did it become a problem, because remember, he had won the world championship in the Crash promotion right before that.
Yeah.
And evidently that wasn't an issue. And then he showed up on Dynamite and beat up Kenny Omega, and then it became an issue. But this is why, like, you know, these contracts, especially now, these TKO contracts, I don't know how the contracts may have changed, if the language is different now. Like, you really need a lawyer to look these contracts over, and you need to know what's in them. Because I hear him saying, either he didn't know or he wasn't aware. Or
I showed up on Dynamite and then the non-compete kicked in.
Yeah, but it sounds like he didn't even know that there was a non-compete.
Well, so he might not have known there was a non-compete, which is his fault. But then WWE he basically, in so many words, also confirmed that when he showed up on Dynamite, then the non-compete kicked in. Not only did he not know it, but WWE took the advances to say, hey, guy, now you have a non-compete and we're extending it from 90 days to a year. So everybody's to blame here. Everybody.
Yes, but again, it's very important when you sign these contracts that you know what's in there. And especially when it comes to a non-compete, which we know WWE has a non-compete in all of their talent contracts. And actually, it might be more than just talent contracts, because Samantha Irvin is still out for another year until she's available. Right. And then Renee Young, she had 2 years, right? Was it 2 years or a year that she, I think, had a non-compete?
I think it was 2 years, and Samantha Irvin had 2 years, right?
Yeah, she's got a year down, a year to go. So it's not just the wrestlers. Like, you need to know what is in this contract, and that's why you need a lawyer or an agent or somebody to look it over for you and let you know. You can't just plead ignorance and say, "Well, I had no idea." You need to know these things, because WWE can be very petty. You know, and maybe they were within their rights to do it, but if it went down the way he just described, like, that's a pretty petty bitch move on WWE's part, that they only kicked it in when they saw that.
Yeah.
So that's what happens though. But yeah, he's not going to be out for a year.
No.
And it's one of those things where if he wanted to challenge it And he's not wrong where it costs money to do that. But like if you wanted to challenge it, there's no way it stands up. I don't think there's any way it ever goes to any sort of actual case or trial or anything like that. I think they would probably settle with him anyway. But if they were forcing the issue and saying, nope, you're out for a year unless you come back and work for us, he has to take it to court. Like you can't allow that to stand and let them walk all over you like that, because there's no way that would hold up. So he's thinking 90 days. That sounds about right. I think we'll see him back in probably a couple of months.
Yeah, I'd say about springtime. I see Andrade back on television somewhere.
Even before that, probably.
Yeah. Dynamite. Let's go over a quick recap here because the Continental Classic has started. A tournament that I very much enjoy every year, but my desire to see it is not as exciting as it was in the first year. But I will give AEW credit here with the beginning of this tournament. We had Kyle Fletcher beat Okada on Wednesday. We had the Jet Kevin Knight beat Darby Allin. Mm-hmm. And we had Claudio beat Orange Cassidy. And then we also had Jon Moxley beat Mascara Dorada, which he's only in there to take a loss anyway. So I was surprised that we saw Okada lose in the first match. So I also was surprised, Jason, that Darby Allin actually lost. So at least from what we're getting, we didn't really get any real story yet. Because I know there's really a nice sense of story if Tony wants to dive into that with the Blue and Gold League here and the people that are in it. Hopefully we do see that. But I was also surprised at the fact that the glaring outcomes here that you thought were going to happen did not happen on Wednesday. So I very much appreciate the little kind of switch up and a little dose of unpredictability.
Yeah, they kicked off the tournament with what I would say were 2 upsets, which is more than I can say for the other tournament that's going on right now on the other channels. So I appreciate that. Some people would say it really wasn't that much of an upset because Fletcher beat Okada in last year's tournament. It's still an upset, though. I mean, the guy went in there as the defending champion. He's largely very protected. He doesn't lose very often. And Kevin Knight winning was a surprise just because Darby lost the Pac at Full Gear. I didn't think he would go 2 straight, but I think him and Pac are in the same league. Mm-hmm. So my guess is he'll get that win back over him when they meet. So I like that they started things out with a little bit of unpredictability, and now we're getting Moxley and Claudio on Dynamite tomorrow night. And I'm hoping that they shoot a big angle coming out of that match. I figured they were holding off for this match, to do whatever it is that they're going to do. So that is maybe the biggest potential story implication that we could get out of this tournament if it leads to some sort of strife, within the ranks of the Death Riders. Obviously, the biggest thing is going to be getting to Okada and Takeshita, which has to be the end goal here. So those stories will work themselves out. And I just thought the matches we've gotten so far, the matches we got on Wednesday were largely good. They were good matches. We had a couple of surprise outcomes. Good start. But if you're not a fan of the Continental Classic, this is not going to be your favorite month of AEW television.
No, I mean, they took the very safe road so far for week 1. No real surprises there outside of some of the winners that we just talked about, but no real storyline progression yet.
No, but what I mean is if you're not a fan of the tournament, it will dominate Dynamite and Collision for the next few weeks.
Yes.
So if you hate it and you're bored by it, and you don't like it, you're probably not going to like these shows. But if you're a fan of it and you're into it, and we do get some good story progression out of it, then I think that it could be a good couple of weeks. We'll see where things go. But that's a big match tomorrow, though, with Moxley and Claudio. It's honestly, of any segment involving the Death Riders, the one that I have the greatest level of interest in a very long time. You mean to tell me that you're interested in the Death Rider segment after 12 months? Never thought I would hear myself say those words. Oh my goodness. But can you blame me? I mean, it's the potential for the end of the Death Riders. So, yes. So of course I'm interested. If that's the case, we celebrate when it happens. We pop open a beer when that day happens. Yes. Get that cold beverage ready, and yes, we will be doing some celebrating. It won't be real American beer, I'll tell you that. No, we can do a little bit better. Yes. On the Continental Classics out on Collision. And continuing on Collision, Thanksgiving Collision. Who watched? I don't know. Pac beat Speedball, Mike Bailey. We also got
What else do we get here as far as Continental Classic? I'm looking through the notes here.
Takeshita and Roddy, I think. Was it Roddy or...
Where is it? Yes, Takeshita and Roddy. Takeshita... Did Takeshita win?
Yes.
Takeshita beat Roddy. Okay, I thought Takeshita. For some reason, maybe that's what I was looking at. Tony Khan came out and said some of the dirt sheets got the results wrong. I had seen Roddy beat Takeshita, and I thought Takeshita and Okada lost the first round. So I'm looking at it now. I'm like, why am I looking at this differently? I think that's what he was talking about. He came out and blasted some of the dirt sheets for getting the results wrong for the tape.
Yeah, some people had leaked. I don't think they did it on purpose or how it came about, but they leaked some incorrect results.
All right, yeah, Takeshita beat Roddy. Roddy is in there. Kyle O'Reilly's not medically cleared. You figured O'Reilly would be in the tournament, but he's not. But Roddy is in there. So we look at the Gold and Blue League right now. Kevin Knight, Kyle Fletcher have a 1-0 record. Pac is 1-0. Darby Allin, Okada, and Speedball are 0-1. Claudio is 1-0. Moxie's 1-0. Takeshi's 1-0. And then Mascara Dorada, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong all lost their matches, so they're 0-1. So that continues on Dynamite tomorrow. Jason,
you know what else we're getting?
Yeah, what are we getting?
The Hardcore Holiday Tag Team Death Match.
Yeah, they couldn't help themselves, huh?
No.
Couldn't help themselves. I was gonna ask you. I wasn't even gonna mention that because it's just par for the course with them. I was gonna mention, how do you feel about Okada defending the Continental title in the Continental Classic after this belt was unified with the International title, which was given to the Unified Championship, which we got now. Now the Continental title is able to be defended in this tournament. So I have a lot of questions about that. Why wasn't the Continental Championship defended if it wasn't unified then? Why do we need a unified championship?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was apparently Okada was free to defend any of the titles that he felt he wanted to defend.
But I thought they were unified.
They were, but they're unified, but the lineage lives on and they're not retired. So even though it's a unified championship, he could technically defend them individually if he wanted to. He just, I guess, opted not to. But here's the thing. If he doesn't win this tournament, if he does not win this tournament, then the unified championship goes away. The unified title that they just introduced in July when he beat Kenny Omega, that belt would go on a shelf somewhere because they would no longer be unified. And that means that we get the international title back.
You mean to tell me Okada would be the international champion?
Yes, he would be. At a time when they introduced the national championship, which will be defended internationally.
Which is basically the international championship.
Basically, yes. So maybe what they could do, that I have an idea. You know what they could do?
They could unify those titles.
They could unify the national title and the international title. And then we'll have a brand new unified championship. It'll just be two different belts that are unified.
Now you confused me on that last part. There, I don't know how you.
What's so confusing about it?
We'd have two unified. We'd have a unified champion again. So
yes, but what I'm saying is the titles that are effectively being unified, though, are different. Right now, the unified titles are the international title and the continental title, right? That comprise the unified title. If Okada loses, he's the international champion. He could wrestle the national champion, beat them.
So the unified title would come off the shelf and be on TV again.
Yes.
But then we'd still have the Continental title on TV to be the
Yes, we would.
Okay.
Yeah, but it would no longer be part of this unification. It would no longer be under the umbrella of the the unified title. Are you following me with what I'm saying?
Chat, do you follow along here?
I feel like I'm having an aneurysm.
I don't know how he operates. I'd love to find out what he thinks about it on a daily basis, but this is genuinely ridiculous.
Well, he's thinking about another championship that he could introduce very soon.
I'm still waiting for that intergalactic championship. It's coming.
And we still have women's tag team championships that have not yet been decided upon. So
and there'll be a women's Continental Classic at some point in the next 2 years.
Guaranteed. At some point, yes. Although he'll have to. I guess he could do it at the same time, but he would almost have to do it maybe in a different part of the year, right?
I guess so.
Otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to literally have nothing but tournament matches all December long if you do it that way.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. It's just ridiculous. And Eddie Kingston's challenging Samoa Joe. Winter's coming for the World Championship. I guess, you know.
Yes. Now, I will say, for all the praise that I gave to the Bron Breakker promo, I have to give praise to the Eddie Kingston
It was
promo.
a good promo.
He cut a hell of a babyface promo on Collision after he beat Shibata. And he said, hey, cameraman, give me the close-up. And he just spoke from the heart. And he said, look, wrestling, this is what drives me. I live for this. This is what brings me peace. And he called out Samoa Joe, and he called him a pussy. And he said, put your championship on the line against me. And they made it official. So December 10th is so I guess next week is the Winter is Coming episode, and we'll get Kingston and Joe. And I would imagine Hook would get involved in that because we still have not had any sort of real fallout from the, Hook and Eddie Kingston kind of aspect of this. So
Eddie Kingston on Wednesday, by the way, he was asked about Hook. I don't want to talk about that right now.
Yeah,
really?
I don't want to talk about it.
When do you want to talk about it, bro?
I don't want to talk. Well, Hook didn't say anything either. Hook came out on Dynamite. He was about to say something and he got cut off. So we haven't heard shit from either one of these two guys.
Oh my God.
We've heard nothing.
No, that's happening. Eddie Kingston's getting a championship match. Everybody's getting a championship match. They haven't done anything to earn one. Ivy Denial over there on Monday Night Raw is getting a fucking IC title match after.
He just beat Shibata. Come on. He's one third of the trio's champions. You laugh at Shibata?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, that's
dare you?
That's your Dynamite coverage. We'll be live tomorrow night. We'll end with this before we get to the super chats. We went over some Bret Hart quotes last week after some of the things he said. It was a funny part of the stream last week. So there was one section in there where Bret claimed that Vince and Shawn Michaels were romantically linked together, and that's how Shawn Michaels got so far ahead in his career. So Eric Bischoff came out, who notoriously does not like Bret Hart, and he talked about Bret's claim that Vince and Shawn Michaels were lovers, and he claims that Bret is still so bitter. He claimed, first of all, I don't think Bret has the ability to be funny. Maybe he is at times, but I've never seen it. Humor is not something that pops into my head when I think of Bret Hart. No, I don't think he was being funny. I think he's being bitter, and the reason I feel that way is because of everything that we've heard out of Bret Hart for the last couple of years. He questioned why Hart isn't capable of simply moving on and enjoying his past accomplishments instead of constantly burying people and making comparisons. Bischoff says, I don't know, man. This is so bitter. Like, I'm not joking. I think it's like cynical. If I was somewhere close to Bret or someone close to Bret, I'd suggest maybe go see a therapist or talk to somebody and just leave that baggage behind. Otherwise, your life will be way better if you do. Bischoff offered Booker T, I guess he interviewed Booker T, a perfect contrast to Hart's behavior. He praised Booker T for moving past disagreements with peers, such as his infamous altercation with Batista, by settling their differences like a man and not dwelling on the past. Bischoff added that he believes Booker T is one of the upper 1% of income earners in the United States and is generally happy, unlike Hart, who is sitting slumped over in a chair looking like a freaking wino, pissing on people that help make you and create the opportunity for you to make the living that you're so miserable about. He added by suggesting that Hart's continuous bitterness is simply not worth carrying around. I thought he'd go harder on Bret Hart, actually. I thought that was pretty tame.
Well, I mean, I'm not shocked when Bischoff would say anything about Bret because Bret has absolutely fucking eviscerated him before, and deservedly so. So, of course, he's always going to hit back at Bret at the first opportunity that he gets. Look, Bret does these interviews. He gets asked these questions. He gives honest answers. I mean, he can come off as bitter. It's not like he's just going around ranting and telling stories to anybody who will listen. I mean, I see pictures of him with his family. Sometimes they post on social media. He looks pretty happy to me. I mean, he's not someone that's going to sugarcoat things, right? I mean, forget about whether or not you think this story about Vince and Shawn is accurate. He's always very brutally honest when he is asked questions about modern wrestling or what he thinks about this guy or that guy. He made the comment about Sheamus. He doesn't know how to throw a punch. He should take 10 minutes and go learn how to throw a punch. Poor Sheamus, his heart probably shattered into a million pieces when he heard that, because I think Bret was one of those guys that he watched and loved when he was a kid. I remember when Bret was talking about Seth Rollins being unsafe because there were a bunch of people that got hurt after they worked with Seth Rollins. And I think it broke Seth's heart because Bret was like his guy and Bret was like shitting all over him. But he's just being honest. And again, let's not forget the guy had a fucking stroke So, I mean, who knows how much of a role that plays in him just not really giving a damn when he's sounding off about this, that, or the other. So, you know, Brett's he tells it like he sees it. Whether you agree with it or not, he tells it like he sees it. And I will take his word on a lot of things over Bischoff. So I'll just say that.
So, yeah, that was said there by Eric Bischoff. And that wraps up another Tuesday Night Titans here on episode 123. We're going to get into super chats, which you guys have killed it tonight, and we appreciate it. We had
I don't want to hurt your feelings, but
yeah,
I did hear he was asked about you.
Bret Harts?
Somebody asked about JD from NY 206.
Yeah.
He said you don't know how to podcast. He said that you should probably go learn how to do a podcast the right way.
All right, let's get the accountant to get Bret my numbers, and we'll discuss that privately over a glass of wine. Apparently, he's a wino, says Eric Bischoff. So,
well, doesn't he have his own brand of not whiskey? He's got his own brand of liquor.
Doesn't he have his own bar in Calgary?
He does, but he was partnering with some company last year, and he has his own brand of spirit. Let me see what it was here. Bret Hart.
Everybody's got a spirit now. I think we should get a TNT branded spirit, huh? What happened?
I don't know. I just typed in.
Uh-oh.
I just typed in Bret Hart's spirit.
Oh no! What showed up?
I don't want to say. No, it was. This isn't Google. I don't know what this is. I think it thought I was looking at like Bret Hart is not dead. I know Bret Hart's not dead. I just typed in Bret Hart's spirit. I meant spirits. Let me see here. It's like Bret Hart's spirit, like he's dead. Hold on. Bret Hart. Oh, here we go. Hitman Edition. Romero Dark Rum. That's what it was, and it comes in like a pink and black box. This is really nice. Here, let me see this. Hold on a second here. I'm gonna give my drinking age, otherwise it won't let me look. All right, here we go.
Bret Hart rum. I gotta look this up.
It's called Hitman Edition Romero Amber Rum, and it is. Oh, it's interesting. It includes an original sketch on the box drawn by the Hitman, a bottle of international award-winning amber rum, and a card with a cartoon drawn by Bret.
Wow.
How about that?
It's a nice fucking bottle.
It is a nice bottle. Look at that little cartoon. This is cool. It's sold out.
Yeah, of course it is.
Damn it.
Wow. Look at that.
Oh, man.
Keep an eye on that. I gotta bookmark that on Google. There you go.
Yeah. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, 3,000 people tonight. We rocked it.
Yeah, thank you guys very much, man. We're going to see super chats now. We'll start off at the top here. By the way, we need another 48 likes for 1,000. So if you guys can do that, we would greatly appreciate that. What?
Somebody in the chat, Bret Hart's spirit against Goldberg.
That would be quite the epic confrontation. See, that would make Monday Night epic.
I'm going with Bret, man, in that one.
Yeah.
Spirit of Bret.
Yeah. Michael Krause with the 2. Best in the game, JD, Jason, TNT. Let's go. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Cody with a 2. Rest easy, Larry. We love you, bub. Boss Mo Jackson with the 199. Another fire episode of TNT. 2 thumbs up, my brothers. Thank you, Boss Mo Jackson.
Thank you, man.
Yair White, 8537 with the 199. Bronson Reed is 37 years old. Yeah. But they somehow see him as the vision of WWE. He doesn't look 37, though. I'll give him credit. He doesn't look 37. He looks like he's fucking at least 30.
34.
Yeah. Michelle with a 2. Rest in peace to Larry. Yes, little Larry. Also with a 5. It was rumored that Roman lobbied to have himself versus Cody at WrestleMania, that he wants the belt and Cody's top spot. If true, then he better work a lot more then. I don't know where you heard that from, but...
Yeah, I don't know if the voices told you that or what Twitter bot may have reported that, but I haven't heard anything like that.
No. Boss Mo Jackson with the 499. You have 24 hours to spend with any WWE wrestler. Who are you choosing? Why do I feel like that's a weird question?
It is a very weird question.
Yeah.
I don't really want to spend 24 hours with anybody, to be honest.
No. No.
A WWE superstar? I don't really have anybody in mind that I would care to spend 24 hours straight with. That doesn't come off as very weird and just inappropriate.
Yeah, Boss Mo Jackson, you take us for two sickos. No, you got the wrong show, bro.
We're gonna have them chained to my wall. Like, I got you now, Rhea. Yes. No, I don't think so.
DJ with a 1999 and a 199 was at War Games with my son. Dirty Dom was standing in the lobby after we checked in. Took a photo with my son, as did the Queen, Jay, McDonough, and Finn. War Games stung, but WWE talent are awesome and made my son great memories. Well, that's awesome, DJ. That's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And I'm glad that you were able to go, man. I mean, I'm sure the atmosphere was great for him, so seeing that smile on his face probably made the entire event worthwhile.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's even better that Paul Heyman didn't push him down. So that's great.
Yeah, which a lot of people were trying to cancel Paul Heyman. Maybe if the security guard did his job a little bit better, maybe the kid wouldn't have gotten through and actually touched the talent.
At this point, I think with all the shit he's gotten away with over the years, I think Paul Heyman is basically uncancelable.
No, he's not going nowhere. Also, why didn't Ray do a run-in? 619 music needed to hit. Oh, it's Survivor Series? They're saving that for a bigger platform. One-on-one with Dominic is going to happen eventually.
But you know what it was? I mean, I think he just remembered when Cena ruined his night when he won the title all those years ago and he beat him in the same night for it. So I don't think Ray was in any great rush to go help John Cena. He's like, fuck him.
Yeah.
Let him get what he deserves.
We got a 199 super chat from Give Me Back Shots Solomonster.
Oh, boy.
Assuming Bianca is cleared for Mania, who does Tiff face? That's a good question.
She seems to be just on the back burner right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know where she fits in on the SmackDown side. I almost feel like maybe she's someone who would benefit from a move to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
This is where this whole transfer window would really come in handy. Tiffany is someone who I think would benefit from a move to Raw, and then you could take a couple of women, because SmackDown desperately needs help, and move them over from Raw to SmackDown.
SmackDown's so bad that Alexa and Charlotte are operating more on Raw than they are on Friday night.
Lately they are, yeah. Absolutely.
And they're not even the tag team champions anymore. They showed up last night on Raw and were just operating like they were working Monday night.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Wyatt Six earlier. You got Nikki Cross in the Wyatt Six, but apparently she doesn't wrestle anymore.
No.
So, she just shows up and scares people. She's not really part of the division there.
B Punk with a 199. Don't dog me, dog. Had me crying last week. Hashtag TNT for life. I don't know if Demeter Bullion's in the chat tonight. Bossmo Jackson with a 499. JD, you run into Stephanie Vicaire at a convenience store. She says hi, gives you the eyes and smiles. How are you shooting your shot? Tell us. Well, unless it happens, unless it doesn't happen at the produce section, like some porn stars out there, I don't want anything to do with this altercation. You guys know what I'm talking about. Am I shooting my shot? No, I'm not. I don't shoot my shot with anybody. I don't do that. I don't want to come off as a weirdo. But thank you, Bossmo Jackson. Jopo with a 499. Hey, guys. Can we appreciate Topanga sporting Vader gear at Survivor Series and getting one of the biggest reactions of the night? It warmed my heart. I didn't even know she was there. Was she there?
Yeah. Dude, they showed her on screen. She got the biggest pop of any of the celebrities that they showed. She got a bigger pop than some of the wrestlers did.
Oh, I got up and walked away.
Amazing.
During the in-between matches, I got up and walked away.
Yeah, she had a T-shirt and had Vader's face on there. But like her and Macaulay Culkin, whenever they get shown on WWE television, they always get massive pops.
Ryleek with a 499. Rest in peace to CM Punk's dog, Larry. Yes. William Lopez with a 499. I hope I don't jinx it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they put the title back on Roman so he can carry it into Saudi Mania against The Rock.
No. Roman works 6 or 7 matches a year.
No more part-time champions.
We do not need that.
No. Jericho with a 20. WWE has the chance to do something cool. LA Knight beats Gunther. Beats Cena. During Cena's retirement speech, LA Knight turns heel and destroys Cena, ending Cena's career. That way would give Knight a new life and heat for years. I like the way you think, Jericho. That's quite the dream that you had last night, man. Thanks for sharing that with us.
You're a very optimistic young man.
Emoji Matt with a $4.99. A skeleton walks into a bar and says, "Give me a pint and a mop." Alrighty then. There he is, Demeter Bullion Doggy with a $7.99. Hi, JD. How are you, big dog? We, Solo. We still on for Mania. Just got my new boots, very short tights and mask. They call me El Doggy Bulliana. What about you?
Well, they call me the Solomon, so I don't need to come up with some ridiculous name because that's not ridiculous enough.
He's got very short tights, bro.
By the way, I'm not wrestling anybody if you're wearing short tights, so you're going to have to get some of those long tights if we're going to do this, okay? So you got to change your gear up a little bit.
Oh, man. Demeter, thank you, man. SB44 of the 5. Not only do I want to question Triple H and Road Dogg, who was on Friday, I also want to question the main roster writing team. It's just so jarring. Well, you saw all of them on the Netflix show. So that's who's writing the show. That one guy, I forgot his name. There was one centralized guy there. I forgot their names, but there's a whole table of guys that just they give out stuff to Triple H, and then he kind of confers with Michael Hayes, and then he just goes with what he wants to go with. That's a good idea. From what we saw, there was no thought process about anything. There was no discussion back and forth. What if? What about this? What about that? Just like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll go with that. Emoji Matt with a $1.99. Ken Shamrock will defeat Cena. Where? In a video game? Also with a $4.99. A cow walks into a bar. The bartender asks what he'd like. The cow doesn't reply because it's a cow and obviously can't speak or understand English. Are these supposed to be jokes, Emoji Man? It's like you're telling me something that may or may not have happened, and there's no joke about it. I don't know.
He witnessed it himself.
Sidro, $10 super chat. Friend decided to break up with his cross-eyed girlfriend. Apparently, she was seeing someone else. I've been banned from singing Christmas carols at the psych ward. Apparently, do you hear what I hear is triggering. Emoji Matt with a $4.99. A screwdriver walks into a bar and the bartender says they have a drink named after it. The screwdriver replies, "You have a drink named Philip?" Bossman, at least that had a punchline to it. Bossman Jackson with a $1.99. Name a video game that should be made into a movie. Destiny.
Man, that hasn't already been. I think a lot of the cool ones already have been made into a movie. I was gonna say Doom, but Doom was made into a movie.
Yeah.
They haven't done a Call of Duty movie yet, have they?
No, I think one's in production.
Oh, okay. There you go. Fallout, I know, is a TV show. I've actually heard good things about it. I haven't watched it.
You know, before this question, if The Last of Us wasn't a movie or a series on Max, that would have been a great movie.
Yeah, no, that would have been a great one. Man, I'm trying to think what would make for a great movie.
God of War is a good one. Yes, God of War.
I mean, you'd be more familiar with some of the more modern games. Like some of those old iconic characters like Mario and Sonic. I mean, they have Sonic 4 already coming out in a couple of years.
They got a Zelda movie coming out.
I was going to ask about that. Did they ever do a Zelda movie?
Yeah, coming out. Live action.
I can't believe it took them this long to do one.
Another Mario movie coming out. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting more into that kind of realm where video games are becoming a movie.
Yeah, I was ready for that new Mortal Kombat movie. I love the trailer, and then they fucking pushed it back from October to May next year.
Yes, Dead Space would be a good one, too, but it's also called Alien. So yeah. Dwayne Jackson, thank you, brother, for the $100 super chat. Appreciate you being here. Sidro, $10 super chat. Cop says, "Sir, how high are you?" The pothead replies, "No, officer, you're wrong. It's high. How are you?" That will never work out, bro. And if the whole world's... go ahead. What were you saying?
Your ass is going to jail.
Yes.
You try that move.
And if the whole world smoked a joint at the same time, there would be peace for 2 hours, followed by a global food shortage.
Yes. Yes, there would be.
Boss Mo Jackson with the $4.99. My teachers told me I'd never amount to much because I procrastinate too much. So I told them, you just wait. Alex with a 20.
NM in the chat says we hit 1,000 likes. Did we hit 1,000 likes, or is he saying that we should hit 1,000 likes?
We hit 1,000 likes. We're at 10:15.
1,000 likes. Give us Ring of Honor corner solo.
No, I would never burden him with that in 1,000 lifetimes, man. Come on.
Don't even ask me.
No, thank you. Alex with the 20. Brother JD and Solo, hear me out on this. The only way Cody vs. Roman Part 3 works is Cody ultimately sells his soul to The Rock and turns heel, and the ending of the match leads to a one-year build to Rock and Roman in Saudi in 27. Man! Yeah, someone just said that same thing about a couple hours ago, man. Yes, that's the only way it works out. Jason doesn't want to hear about The Rock because after what we got at Mania this year, but, I mean, it's a possibility if it's going to be in Saudi next year, or the year after, rather. Emoji Matt with a 5. With everyone reclaiming names and music, can we get Walter back? No. I actually quite like Gunther better than Walter now.
Yeah, I mean, Gunther is pretty much established at this point.
Yeah. Sidro with a 5. FYI, yes, I'm baked in the venue. Star Wars joke. What do you call Harrison Ford when he smokes weed? Han so high. And how do sharks get high? Reefer. Well, you're really on something tonight, huh?
Yeah, he's on the bad stuff.
Yeah. Toya D with a 5. Today's my birthday, and I can't think of a better way than to spend it watching TNT. Also, rest in peace, Larry. Well, Toya, happy birthday, number 1, and thank you for spending your birthday, your special day, with Jason and I. Appreciate it.
Toya, I hope it was a good one.
Base Beers with a 2. Tommy Dreamer sent that kid to finish off Paul H. Yes. Yes, that could have been it, man. We don't know.
Somebody said that in my chat the other day.
I didn't make the correlation there at the time I saw the clip, but yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
Leopoldo may be onto something here. He says Oregon Trail, the movie. I think that, you know what? That could be like a horror movie, actually.
That could be actually very good, yes.
That could be very good, yeah. It's like The Hills Have Eyes, but we'll call it the Oregon Trail, and you encounter all these weird creatures along the way.
Caden with a 14 months. Love this community. HBK booking a better pay-per-view than Triple Fraud. We got 5 matches. Oba versus Ricky, and now Mystery Guana versus Ethan Page for the North American Championship. Are you fucking kidding me? Might as well just move Mystery Guana to NXT from now on, huh? Why? How did that come about?
I don't know. But that's yeah, I mean, how did he become the number 1 contender for the North American Championship?
I don't know. Christopher Holloway with a 20. Honestly, think if H is going to do this amount of matches, he should maybe have 1 or 2 matches on the pre-show. If he's not going to go past 4 or 5 matches, the traditional Survivor Series match could have come across better on the pre-show. They moved away from that. Jason made a good point, and I agree with it. If you're going to do 4 matches, every one of them's got to be a fucking banger. Like, automatically, we looked at that show, Jason, on Saturday. 2 of the 4 matches fucking bombed, and you're automatically looking at a thumbs-down show. They had no chance to even rectify that and bring it to a thumbs-up show.
Yeah, I mean, there's no margin for error there. You need to really knock it out of the park with everything.
Christopher, thank you for the 20, man. Bradley with a 5. If they want to keep War Games, make it brand versus brand elimination, and the winning team goes to Saturday night's main event in a fatal 5-way to decide challenges for the Rumble. Brand versus brand elimination? Nah.
I mean, I'm a fan of having something tangible on the line. I mean, the whole Saturday night's main event thing, you just made it more convoluted than it needs to be. But I'm fine with having stakes of some kind on the line there. I think that's fine, but I just think the entire format needs to be just on the back burner for a year and give it a break and then revive it when there's a good reason to have it. And then you declare War Games and then it means something. You know, like I just go back to the Hell in a Cell example from last year with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. You felt like, okay, this is a a match worthy of that stipulation, right? And they blew it off in there, and it was great. It was great. I think it didn't Meltzer, I think, gave it 5 stars. He doesn't hardly ever give 5 stars to a WWE match, but that was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah.
That's the way Hell in a Cell was. That's the way War Games should be.
Marshall D with a $9.99. Raw got a Hell in a Cell match in 21 because USA Network wanted a big marquee match after Fox got a Hell in a Cell. So WWE scheduled another Hell in a Cell to keep both broadcast partners satisfied and boost ratings. Yes, I remember that. I could not believe what I was seeing. I was angry about it then. Big time. Baltimore Jackson with a $1.99. Could Joe Hendry be a champion in WWE? Your thoughts? Sure. IC champion, Intercontinental champion is where I see him. I don't see him as a world champion.
Yeah, I know he was the world champion in TNA. I don't see that happening in WWE.
Charles.
He could be, You know what, though?
Yeah.
He could be NXT champion.
He could. I could see him as NXT champion. Charles with a 5. If it is just called Season of the Witch, that movie gets looked at a lot more fondly.
It does. It does. That's Halloween 3. It was Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and everybody turned on it because, it didn't have Michael. So if it had a different title, I think it definitely would have been received a lot better. I mean, it's kind of become a cult classic over time, so I think people now are they're definitely warmer to it than they were back when it came out. But yeah, I mean, that's the difference a little change in the name could have made.
Base Bears with a 2. Jay was dancing like Mercedes on top of the cage.
Yeah, he was doing the CEO dance is less offensive than whatever Jay was doing on top of that cage.
Yes, I would much rather see Mercedes dancing than Jay Uso do.
Yes.
Hollywood guy with a $5 super chat. They should change the War Games name because there was nothing about war story-wise. Give it a new name or just end it. What would you call it then? Curious, what would you guys call War Games if it's not War Games?
Games.
Zachary Cologne with a $4.99. Yesterday made 3 months since my childhood dog passed. I got her as a puppy the summer before 7th grade. I'm 27 now. I miss my dog every day. It sucks. I'm sorry to hear that, Zachary. Like Punk said in his message to Larry today, they're always going to be with you. Always. I sometimes, I think about what Bacardi may be doing now if she was here, and I still very much believe that she is somewhere roaming around in my office. I believe that wholeheartedly. Base Beers for the 2. Can you believe it's been 1 year since the New Day turned? Yes, I seen that clip on social media, and they did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing with it. Awful. Leopoldo with a 2. If Jay's eliminated at the Royal Rumble, will they run him back? If he's eliminated in the Royal Rumble, will they run him back? To do what?
It's a play of him.
Run the music back.
Yes. Yes.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I think it's a playoff of the music thing where, if he gets eliminated, will they run him back and send him back into the match?
No, please, no. I don't want to see any eating in the Rumble or running it back. No. Emoji Matt with a 2. He simply says, meow. Matt, are you sure you're not smoking with Sidro? Baltimore Jackson with a $1.99. You have 24 hours with 0 consequences. What are you doing? Probably the same thing I do every day. Nothing. What am I doing? Face Beers with the 2. Braun Steiner can talk. Yes, he can. Tony Brown. $9.99. JD Psycho Cider Liquid Death tastes better with a metal straw. Also, I want Stephanie Vicaire to give me that devil's kiss. Face up. Face up. Tony Brown. Tony Brown. Calm down there, bro.
God.
Yeah,
we know what Tony Brown is doing for 24 hours if he has no consequences.
Yeah, Psycho Cider, man. I got to order me some. I'm all out. Base Beers with the 2. Bron Breakker versus Bob the Builder at Mania. Who do you got? I'm going Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder is dead. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah. He died a few months ago. You didn't see the news?
No, I did not. I must have missed that.
You should look it up. Bob the Builder was found dead. TMZ reported it.
Bron Breakker by no contest. He wins. Drew Gilmore with the 39 months. Need some prayers right now. My girlfriend is going through shit at her job, and it's causing her unnecessary stress. I'm doing all I can, and it's not enough. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I know you've been with me for a while. You can always reach out to me, man, if you need anybody to talk to. Me, Hula Grim, Guardian. They're always here, bro. So anything you need, we're here. Punch Perfect, 1993 with a $2 super chat. TNT, best wrestling show on YouTube. I agree.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I agree. Thank you, Punch Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Base Beers with a 149. He leaves a dog emoji, which I'm assuming is in memory of Larry the dog. Boss Mo Jackson with a 199. I'm thinking about writing a WWE hate letter. For what? They don't give a shit. They look down on everybody that criticizes them. They don't care. Yurka with a 10. No message. Thank you, Yurka. Moore, 7205 with a 2. They went from Seth Riders to the Paul Heyman family. Yes, it's a lot better. Najee with a 799. They're not going to make Roman lose 3 straight Mania main events in a row. Who gives a shit? Roman is as untouchable as anybody. It's like God and then Roman. It's like, who gives a shit if he loses? He's never there. Boots with a 5. Just saw my 2025 YouTube recap. Both of your channels were in my top 2 sports. Jim Cornette was number 4. I fucking love it, man. It's great.
Finally. He's been defeated. Son of a bitch.
One of these days, man, you'll get that number 1 spot.
God damn it.
Bossmo Jacks with the 149. Don Callis family versus the Vision. Take my money.
That's unfair, though. I mean, the Don Callis family has so many more members than the Vision does.
I'm taking the Vision.
You're going to take the Do you realize that the Don Callis family has El Clone? You're going to take the Vision over the Don Callis family?
How could I? I gotta rescind my opinion. I'm going to go with the Don Callis family just because El Clone.
And they have Rocky Romero, and they have Mark Davis, and I mean, come on, man.
You can't forget Mark Davis.
No.
What do we got here? We got Tony Brown with a $10 super chat. JD and Solomonster, wasn't Cody heel in Ring of Honor? Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. He's been heel before. It's just that, it's been since AEW at least. He's been a babyface, and so some people are waiting for the big heel turn. We know Rock apparently wanted Cody to go heel at the beginning of the year, and that just didn't make any sense. Now it's almost a year later, and I can envision a scenario that is exciting creatively, where in the beginning of 2026, maybe we get that Cody heel turn. And I'm more open to it now than I would have been at the beginning of this year. I mean, do you agree? It would have been way too premature to do it earlier this year.
Yes. I think they need a major story, and if that is what happens, I'm all on board with that. They need something to generate week-to-week television. Leopoldo with a 5. Roderick Howard 1752 says heel Cody versus face Punk is more intriguing than heel Cody versus face Roman, and I agree. Could they possibly do both? If so, when? Yeah, if Cody's going heel, it's not going to be just for this match. I mean, he'd stay heel, and then we get a match with Punk, maybe SummerSlam. Who knows?
Yeah, you know what though? If they do Roman and Cody, I think if you're going to turn Cody heel, I think you do it in that match. I don't think you do it beforehand. So
that could work. Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
You're sacrificing what maybe is a more interesting build to the match, but I don't want them to fall into the same trap they did with Cena this year, where when it was all over, it was like, man, that would have been better if it happened at Mania.
Yes.
So if you're going to do it, I think that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Cody with a 2. Brock, Gunther, Mania, I don't accept shit else. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. Leopoldo with a 2. Travis Scott, most hated interference in WWE history. It may be up there. I can't really think of anything else that's happened that may be worse, but recent, that's the worst. The Kingdom Kid with a 499. If Punk isn't champ and they aren't doing Punk and Cody or Punk and Roman, I could see them doing Logan and Punk at Mania. I could see that too. Punk would not be the champion then. He would not be the champion at all. Boots with a $5 super chat. When WWE shows the celebrities at Saturday Night's Main Event, what if Jon Stewart is shown at ringside and he does a run-in and helps Cena win the match?
Oh, God.
Dude, I don't want to see that again. I don't want to see anything close to that.
I didn't want to see it 10 years ago. I don't want to see it now either.
Leopoldo with a 5. In my opinion, the only interference as bad as Travis Scott was Jon Stewart in Seth versus Cena, if only because it was inexplicable with no follow-up. Not as hated, but just as bad. Yeah. Scottsy with a 199. Saturday Night's Main Event is YouTube, UK. Love you guys. 5 a.m. in Scotland. Solo, he says. Thank you, Scottsy.
Thank you.
Emoji Matt with a 5. So I don't watch AEW, but I have to ask, why do you guys call them sickos? I legit don't know. Here's to Brie Bella's comeback as Beer Mode. Well, Tony branded them as sickos because he quoted a quote in Tommy Boy with Chris Farley and David Spade. And it's kind of created its own life after that. Really?
They use it, they themselves, like some of the AEW folks, Tony Khan, they use it as a sign of affection.
Britt Baker actually referenced them as sickos in a promo on Wednesday.
She did.
Crazy Men, $5 super chat reports from Ibu and others state Roman changed the plan of him versus Bron to him versus Cody. Also, Seth versus Sammy and him versus Seth. He has the tribal shovel now. So Roman's the creative team now, is what we are being told here. Roman's just making Mania happen. He's taking Triple H's job. He changed the plan himself from him and Bron to him and Cody. Yes, Roman, whatever you want, sir.
I acknowledge you.
Yes. I guess he's taking that to heart. Amaro with a $4.99. What's the difference between Elon Musk and a lemur? Or lemur? Well, Elon made an electric car. A lemur, Madagascar. Nice. Also with a $4.99. How do you know you're at a gay barbecue? All the hot dogs taste like shit. Guys, really? You guys are fucking ridiculous. Leopoldo with a $2 super chat. More hate. Brett for Goldberg or Cornette for Russo?
Cornette for Russo. Hands down, not even close.
Oh, my God. You know, Russo was on Ariel Helwani's show, and then someone lobbied to get Cornette on the show, and then Brian Last said, nah, we're over here. On Twitter. Gotta touch my soul with a 2. JD, did you talk about the TNA AMC deal? Yes, we did. Not really much to talk about, but they're debuting on January 15th. We'll see what happens. Italian Stanley with a $7.99. Why do they call a priest a father? Because calling him daddy would blow his cover. Jeez. You guys are getting more sadistic with this this comedy stuff over here. Moji Matt with a 5. Eli Drake should retire Cena. Then Ambrose returns and Cena throws him through a table. You'll never see Dean Ambrose in WWE again. MGM Bowling with a $9.99. Solo appreciated this, so I'll repeat it here because I got to show the gents some love. What does Jacob Fatu say when he finds a golf shirt he likes? I love you, Polo!
I thought that was clever.
That was very clever. Sorry in advance, he says. Thank you. MGM Ballin'. Thank you, man. Furious Nation with the 199. What's up, JD and Solo? Banger show tonight. Thank you, Nation.
Thank you, brother. Is that Furious Nation?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Leopoldo with a 2. Solo, Oregon Trail horror movie. Seriously, a great idea. That it?
It is. I would go see it on day one.
Duff's Vids with a 199. What do you call a man with no shins? Tony. I'm just waiting for Jason's reply there. I don't get it either. I don't know what's going on there. Duff's Vids also with a 499. I tried suing the airlines for losing my luggage. I lost my case. Furious Nation with a $9.99. Remember when Vince wanted to fire Gunther 3 years ago? Thank goodness he's not in charge anymore. Yet geeks on social media want him back. Now Gunther is going to have a battle with Cena in his final match. He did want to fire Gunther. I vividly remember that report. It had something to do with R-Truth and a segment R-Truth ran as Uncle Sam on Monday Night Raw. NM94, the 5. Would you guys be upset if at the Rumble, Triple H only gave us 2 Rumble matches and that's it? A 2-match show is coming. No, we're going to be more angry when the Rumble goes 2 nights. And we got to get 2 Rumble matches on 2 separate nights. That's what's going to happen. You know, that's what he's hoping we want, because the more we want more matches, he's going to give us more nights and 4 matches on each night. You can't complain with this 8 matches now over 2 nights. Which is more money for us. That doesn't matter. I mean, more streams, more content for you guys. It don't matter. Furious Nation with the 499. Pets are always important, and a member of the family. My heart goes out to Punk and AJ Lee. Rest in peace, Larry. Yes, indeed. Leopoldo with a 2. What does Tarzan say when he has blue balls? Meow. Duff's Viz with a 499. My friend Gavin died recently from heartburn. Can't believe Gaviscon gone.
Stupid.
NM. $2 super chat. JD, look up La Hydra from AAA. Thank me later.
I think it's La Hiedra.
I've pronounced it the way I see it. I agree. That's probably the way you pronounce it.
That I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yes.
And whatever you were going to say is probably wrong.
Yeah, like Persephone, right?
Persephone. Yeah, that's still the best one. Good old Persephone over there. Sounds like something the fucking Apple would come out with next year.
Leopoldo, she's actually wrestling Athena on Final Battle Friday. Mm-hmm. $2 super chat from Leopoldo. Actually, Cody Roman would make Cody less. It would make Cody and Punk less intriguing. Would it? I don't think so. Cody and Punk could not be less intriguing because the promo work itself would outshine anything else that's on the show. Steph 497 with the 5 months. Thank you, Steph. And we'll end with this emoji Matt. We got explicit coming in too. Emoji Matt with a $2 super chat. We got a couple here. Explicit with a $2 super chat, or I'm sorry, Emoji Matt. I'm out of jokes, but you guys are crazy, laughing my ass off. Explicit with a $4.99. Hi JD, I just wanted to tell you this man Triple H is a Freemason. If you start his symbol, anything on symbolism, you will see that. Oh, you're one of those guys, huh? Like my fucking brother over there, man. He's talking about Freemasons and fucking 33 numerology or all this other shit. Listen, man, I think that stuff is very interesting. And there is quite the audience for that. And I'm very intrigued by some of the things that come out. But I'm not going to sit here and say that, everything is manipulated. But that's another story for a different day. Duffs for the 199. In parentheses, he puts Tony. Tony. The other joke.
That's from the Shins joke.
Yes. Tony. Yes.
I see.
He forgot to leave it the way that it's supposed to be pronounced. But and Emoji Man with a $2 super chat. Paul Levesque or Triple H? What am I supposed to answer there? I'm gonna go Triple H.
JD or Jerry?
Yeah, Triple H. At least, depending on how you liked his wrestling career, I'm gonna take Triple H.
I'll take Triple H.
All right, man. Thank you guys you guys killed it tonight, man. This was the best TNT we've had in weeks. You guys 3,000 deep on Tuesday night here, over 1,000 likes. You guys killed it on the super chats. Thank you guys very much. I'm gonna leave it to Jason to sign us off, but please follow us on social. And on YouTube, you guys know where to find us. And please leave a comment down below and continue to hit that thumbs up. And I'm going to leave it up to Jason to sound us off for another great week here on Tuesday night.
Well, I was just reading before. Paul White, Big Show, was on, I believe, Sam Roberts' podcast. Is that funny to you?
Yes.
You know where I'm going with this. And he made the comment. Now, if you've seen Paul White in the last few appearances he made in AEW, it was kind of painful to watch. You know, he just was not moving very well. And I think the last thing he did maybe was when he got body slammed in the parking lot on top of the car.
Yes, by Hobbs, right?
By Powerhouse Hobbs. When he came out, everyone made fun because he came out. just standing there like he wasn't able to move. He's had issues, all kinds of surgeries. Anyway, he says he's not ready to hang up the boots yet. So he is hoping to have at least one more match, if not multiple matches. And he is still saying that he has the rights to it, that he wants to play the Captain Insano character on AEW television. The Captain Insano character from, what was it, The Waterboy, right?
Yeah, Adam Sandler, yeah.
So not ready to hang up the boots. If Big Show has his way, we will see more Paul White matches.
Get ready.
I don't know that that's a good idea.
Get ready for Captain Insano teaming up with Big Boom AJ on a future AEW pay-per-view. It's coming.
On the pre-show.
On the pre-show, yes.
On the pre-show, yes.
Thank you guys very much, man. We'll see you back here for episode 124 of Tuesday Night Titans. We'll see you guys later.